one of my buddies who's still over in England, I was making fun of him. I'm like, oh, your fucking queen died. Like, tough, bro. Like, and he was like, well, I don't mind the royal family because they bring in a lot of money in tourism. And I'm like,
I fucking hate this argument.
It's not a
it's like-
justification.
well,
I'm
and
sure Auschwitz
Well-
brings a lot of money in tourism.
Genuinely, like, it's not like you need the fucking Nazis to still be there, right?
Yeah.
You're listening to the Art and War podcast with your hosts, Mitch and Nathan. Mitch is a former airborne infantry squad leader who now spends most of his time coaching soccer. Nathan is a professional illustrator and an avid shooter with a couple of years of Canadian military experience. Together, they run the Seaburn art page. Enjoy the show.
Fuck, are we recording?
yeah.
Well, I figured we could maybe, like, banter a bit and then go into the questions.
Oh,
I don't know.
All right.
Well,
Well, the
I
first
don't know.
question.
Well,
So any new schizo thoughts, Nathan? Go.
any new schizo thoughts?
That was
Well,
the-
first, CIA started a podcast like yesterday.
Yes!
Did
you see that?
Wait.
I'm saving it for Garrett because he has a lot of thoughts, but we should bitch about it.
Wait.
We can touch on it. Give me
like-
5 seconds to close my door.
Okay.
Of course. Close your door, scan your room for like bugs. Like look out your window for drones. See any black SUVs?
Yeah, let me load my rifle and then we can start talking about this.
Wait. All right.
Oh,
So the CIA,
Okay.
like the actual CIA.
The actual CIA.
hey,
Let
start
me
the fucking podcast.
let me find this for you because of course Mel and all of them on Twitter were sharing this.
I just
CIA.
don't believe it. Like the actual.
The Langley CIA are so they're doing it because they're commemorating 75 years of great service to this country and not fucking up anything at all. It's
We should
called.
fucking ask them to come on.
So it's called The Langley Files, a CIA podcast.
Who hosts?
Some fucking spook. So 23 hours ago, the CIA posted on Twitter, tap tap tap, is this thing on? Mic emoji. The Langley Files. Hashtag CIA's official podcast. Episode 1 is now available. Listen to CIA.
Holy shit!
Listen to CIA director. They're not even like putting an intern on this. CIA director William J. Burns bring hashtag CIA out of the shadows as we celebrate our 75th year of serving the nation.
Wait.
Holy
That's not
fuck.
on a troll account. That's on like
No,
That's the actual.
the actual CIA.
I
Yeah.
promise you, 3.3 million followers. The actual blue check CIA on Twitter.
What?
Dude, imagine like you're the audio engineer. You know, you break that down and it's just like shoot up your local shopping mall, shoot up your local shopping mall. Like, just like you break down, the audio, and they're just like playing coordinates backwards for somewhere to pick up a Daniel defense rifle, like a dead drop.
What?
The Daniel defense is at this location. Come at 1600 hours and meet.
Have you listened to it? Has anybody here listened to it?
Not
Fuck
yet.
no, I'm gonna lie.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
because
I have.
like
I am intrigued.
I
Me
don't.
too, but that's probably exactly it. It's like the only people who are unironically going to listen to this are going to be people like us. And I use the word unironically very loosely.
Well, so here's the thing. Anyone listening, if you listen to the CIA, the Langley Files, give it 1 star. Fuck those cunts.
Yes.
Rate them badly.
Imagine if we got in like a fucking podcast war with the CIA.
Let's do it. Fuck them.
I wonder what their numbers are like.
Just like no. Like I would like to say right now, I love my life.
You
I
just
know
said my actual name, you cunt.
Fuck. Okay. Fuck. Okay.
No, I'm
We are,
definitely
we are.
dead.
I love my life. I know how to swim. I know how to drive. I can drive very okay, like an old man. I don't speed. If I ever speed, something is wrong.
You're gonna fall down some stairs, buddy.
Zero
I'm sorry.
suicidal ideation. And I do not have any information that will help lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton.
I was listening to Joe Rogan like a year ago, and he had somebody on who was like exposing like tech. Like he had this whole company, and his job was to go in and see what tech was talking about, what they weren't talking about, and he started to like uncover some like scary shit about like the FBI and the CIA, and
Shocker.
his wife with the car full of kids. So he was threatened beforehand, like nonchalantly. He was called to, I don't remember, it might have been like Congress or something, but like behind closed doors, somebody came up to him and was like, "Hey, like you need to stop." And like he took it as like a threat, but he kept doing it. And like a week or two after that, his family, so his wife and like his kids in the car, suddenly just sped up and fucking crashed, and like everybody died. And like
Fuck me.
he's doing what he does, but he's like, I don't know how to not sound like a crazy person when I say like my wife would not have been going 120 miles per hour in her car. Like,
Yeah.
With kids in the car.
No, dude, that keeps fucking you. Mitch, are you familiar with what happened to the journalist Michael Hastings?
never heard of him.
Oh, we get into it a little bit on the PSR episode. Journalist exposing war crimes, etc.
Oh yeah, that will already
One that
be out
comes
by
out-
the time people listen to this.
Yeah, the one that comes out in 2 days.
Oh, okay.
We talk about. We don't talk about printing at all. We talk about a lot of stuff. Michael Hastings came up, and also the habit of people who are enemies of the state seem to really, really like putting it to the floor and crashing into whatever. Like this keeps happening. This is not a new thing.
I won't lie, I speed everywhere, so that's probably how I'm gonna die, but
Yeah. But like if you're at like 3 a.m. doing like 120 miles per hour through like a suburban neighborhood, yeah, something's probably wrong.
yeah, look into it. Like whatever. If I die before I'm old and gray, look into it, kids, please.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't buy cars that are like on the network. I don't buy anything that is like that computerized.
Cars on the network. You have a fucking Prius.
Yeah, it's an older one. It is not wired to the cloud at all, other than a really basic GPS.
What vehicles are wired to any cloud?
Like most of them.
What?
Most
Wow.
new vehicles that you buy?
Like, listen, we're not tech people. It's probably not
Yes.
wired to the cloud, but
No, it's
you know what he means. Some
No, I
Skynet
don't.
shit.
I have no idea. What are you on about? Your vehicle? Like, so you're saying all modern vehicles are like, there's like a fucking storage hub, like of information. Like what?
You can remotely access and like fuck with a lot of modern vehicles, and there's
Yeah,
like there's
a ton of
articles. I promise you, there's articles on this that
a fucking ton.
yeah
Like-
you can fuck with a lot of modern vehicles remotely because they're all computer
Yeah.
chips and shit.
Was it all Mazda that like remotely shut down and pulled over cars that were they needed maintenance at a certain point, and they would shut them down remotely? And this is becoming kind of standard practice. And you know, there are a lot of subsystems built, and I'm not a techie person. I'm not a car person at all. I drive a Prius, so if that gives you an idea. But I drive a Prius so people leave me the fuck alone, and they do. I have this habit of like every time I see another Prius driver in a parking lot, I will go over to their car just to like look in and see what they're like. And they're always the worst people.
What kind of Prius driver are you? Oh,
Exactly. And
not a-
every time
cool
except one, it's been like, okay, the last time I was at a grocery store in my neighborhood, and this was like 2 days ago, and I just went to look, and there was like a Ukraine mask, like a cloth mask hanging from their windshield. I'm like, I don't want to listen to any opinion you have. But in Idaho, actually, a little while ago, I saw a Prius in a parking lot. Like, oh, this is an interesting place because I'm at a fucking gun store. So I walk up to it because I see a bunch of bumper stickers, just kind of expecting to see like peace and love, all of that. And the first sticker I see is Trump 2024.
Like, what
And
the fuck?
And I'm just looking at it like, wait, interesting. And then this guy comes up behind me and he goes, and he's, you know, like 55, olive drab fishing vests, all of that. He just looks at me and he goes, yep, I'm a redneck and I drive a Prius. And he's just my new fucking best friend. He's just my best friend.
You see a lot of that out here in the Southwest. A lot of Priuses with like, I'm only driving a Prius so I can buy more guns kind of stickers.
No, it helps. It's great.
Little Prius with a Gadsden flag on the back. You're like, what the fuck, man?
I find it really funny, but no, it's a good little car. I actually like it. Pleasantly surprised. But anyway, this might be the last podcast I'm recording with you guys. I think because there is a non-zero chance I'm going to die tonight.
Oh yeah, Not
First,
not from not from the CIA or RCMP. It's
we've got a Category 4 hurricane hitting us tonight. And if I cut out randomly during this podcast, just keep on recording without me.
it means Nathan is dead, and he wants
means
us to
I'm dead.
continue recording.
Just please continue. If the screen just goes black, yeah. It's but something that fucking bothers me, as Mitch is silent now because his there's a dog that's just freaking out. Something that really fucking bothers me is, I'm one of those crazy people who has a little bit of food and water. I have a couple streamlights sitting around just in case. I got a few candles. I'm one of those crazy people who fills a couple of jugs just to have. And
Selfish.
Selfish. I'm hoarding those resources, during times where resources are plentiful. It's very selfish of me. And over the last 2 days, this small tropical storm has been upgraded to a Category 4 hurricane, and the news is just screaming, it's like, it's the world ender, we're all going to die.
Fuck.
And I went to a grocery store, because I have everything I need. I've had everything I've needed for a while. And this is not uncommon weather here. It's supposed to be worse than most of the storms we get, but it is not uncommon for us to have a hurricane every few years, and all city infrastructure just gets fucked for 7 days. No power, no nothing. So I go to the store. There's no water. There's a cap on the bottles of water you can buy. Someone walked in and just asks the people at the front, hey, are there any flashlights left? And the lady goes, sorry, hon. Last flashlight sold out 2 days ago. And holy fuck, guys, how the fuck do you not own a flashlight? How are you an adult and not own a flashlight or bottles to put water in, or
Wait,
water
so
in
you're
general?
in Canada,
or food?
and she sounded like she was from Georgia.
Yes.
Hey,
Well, no,
y'all.
I did that for just insert a Nova Scotia accent into there. I do that better. I can't do the accent that I'm thinking of ever.
Well, what you're
Just has to
saying
be a
is
different
kind
one.
of getting into what we're gonna start putting out in
Yeah,
a month and a half or whenever.
Yeah,
we get
people
that
are
information.
fucking
Getting into
useless.
prep and stuff.
Yeah, and friends of mine here who just aren't into guns and stuff. I'll talk to them. Hey, do you own a flashlight? And they will argue fucking tooth and nail that they don't need one because their phone has one, when they live in a city where we've had fucking blackouts. I could
week-long blackouts.
Yeah. No, I
Wild.
remember once Isaac from the Schizocast was over earlier, and we were just thinking about we just went for a drive during a blackout once, and even in the city, the blackout was citywide. It was dead. There was no light pollution. There was no nothing. You couldn't see the street you were driving down. And people will argue passionately that they don't need bottled water or a flashlight, and that drives me fucking wild.
That's what you get when you get a populace that's very much dependent on on the system working, because when it doesn't, they're like, oh,
Guess I'll die.
Even if they've lived through it many times, they're always shocked by things not working. It's like
They just forget. It's like when COVID was kicking off, all the people I know who were really against guns and so when it's popular, hey, do you have any ideas on how to protect myself? Hey, you know about this kind of thing, and now the immediate threat of COVID is over. Now those people are immediately back to their old fucking stances. It's almost like no one can really think a few steps ahead of them.
many such cases, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't want to.
That's my schizo rant. What?
I don't want to lose a point that the CIA started a fucking podcast, because that's something that I'm trying to digest. There was a book series. Have you guys ever read the Mitch Rapp books?
No, who's up?
Mitch Rapp.
Fiction or
I mean, it's totally made up. It's a story about. Well, there's 19 or 20 books now. They're really good. But they're really. I don't want to say fuddy. They're super America can do no wrong, and the CIA is always right.
I think you've talked about this before. CIA are the superheroes of the world, working behind the scenes to protect freedom and that kind of vibe.
Yeah, but it's they're really good books. If you can turn off that part of your brain where you're the CIA has done horrible things, you can enjoy it. But the author of that book, Vince Flynn, he was writing these books for years and years, and they were so like accurate. So there's a lot of theories that he was actually talking with a lot of like embedded CIA agents. We don't know how, because he was describing things and how they went about certain things and all these things really accurately. So much so that President Bush at the time found out, and the head of the director of the CIA,
Wait, senior or junior?
Junior.
Okay.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Bush and the director of the CIA at the time found out and called him to the White House. And they were like, "Hey, how'd you get all this information? Like you're like in these books, you're describing things just with like, different names and all this stuff." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm just writing books." Mysteriously, like a year and a half later, died of brain cancer. And he was like mid 40s, like he was a young
What
guy,
the fuck?
super healthy, mysteriously died of brain cancer. Maybe he actually did have brain cancer. Not everything is a conspiracy, but
Yeah.
They hit him with that fucking ray. What is
Oh,
it? The fucking
the cancer ray.
yeah, that
The
cancer
Dr.
gun.
Manhattan special.
but I think of things like that. Like anytime I think of the CIA, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, Mitch Rapp, super cool, does cool shit. And then I'm like, wait a minute. No, they don't. And now they have a podcast, which is interesting. I wonder if the agent that's hosting it or whoever's hosting it, if that's like their job now in the CIA, or if it's like an incentive bonus thing, like, hey, like on top of doing your job, you're also going to host this podcast and we'll pay you however much. Or did they like externally find someone to come work for them whose job is exclusively to host like a podcast?
Oh,
by the sounds of
they're a sentient AI. I guarantee it.
by the sounds of it, it's going to be the director like recording
Yeah.
these.
The director of the CIA is hosting the
Yeah,
podcast?
That's what it said. At least for the first episode. CIA director William J. Burns is bringing the CIA out of the shadows. So, I mean, the director is essentially like the face of the CIA, and they have to be, they know some dark, fucked up shit
Yeah.
that they're doing, but at the same time, they are also the, representative of the CIA doing good work and, all that good shit. So, I guess that's, he's just gonna be the face and fuck knows. What a weird setup.
What?
Yeah.
Whose idea was this? Like, like did the director of the CIA think, you want to know what I should do? Podcast. Or
It's
You know-
probably trying to get that Gen Z fucking. Well, I imagine the CIA's recruiting numbers are also abysmal, like every other branch of government,
I
like
don't
law
know.
enforcement, military. Right now, I genuinely wonder.
I think military
I
numbers.
heard the FBI's is shit.
Yeah, I don't think CIA. Well, it depends what you're talking about, like recruiting for CIA. I think maybe just in general they're struggling, but I think when it comes to like the special agents, they're so niche, and like the ones that go out and do like the secret CIA shit, not like the logistics fucking nerds. I'm talking the people who
like
say
field guys.
yeah, like the people who say they're logistics, but they're actually out like being fucking CIA agents.
Oh, like Jim from The Office.
I think those people are not like they're not struggling for them, but they're probably struggling for like everything else.
Yeah.
Who would want to go? How do you even like as a kid? You're like, you want to know what I want to do when I grow older? I want to be in the CIA. Like that's just such a weird.
Well, it's kind of like it's one of those strange paths after the military, isn't it? Like a lot of guys, they'll do like I don't know, 10, 15 years, and then it's like, oh, the CIA might be interested in me, instead of like going and being a cop or going and like working at Home Depot until you find like a nice office job. It's like, oh, the CIA is actually interested in me,
Yeah. Well, they also it's fucky how they work, and I only know this because it was described in great detail in one of Vince Vaughn's books, and became like a reoccurring theme. And then I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, this is something they actually do, so that they can really honestly say like, oh no, the CIA wasn't involved in this. No official paid member of the CIA like goes on these operations. For the most part, they just contract out like disassociated or fired members of the CIA, and it's like, yeah, we need this.
Oh
thing
yeah, no,
done.
that
And it's like
happens.
the CIA isn't officially involved. We
Yeah.
just, this company is involved, or this this contract,
This individual,
involved, this individual, and that
yeah,
happens
that's super well known.
yeah, it happens a lot with like former, like you were saying, like 10 to 15, 20-year
Yeah.
military members who have, because I did stuff with this. I didn't do stuff with the CIA.
Yeah, but
was there making a presence whenever I was in Afghanistan, and they did. I even got a coin from one of the people at the CIA actually for helping them fill sandbags. Ironically,
Yeah.
well, yeah, because like when there's prisoners of war, like captured ISIS or Taliban members, they get often handed off to CIA operatives, like on the tarmac, right?
yeah, and sometimes not even on the tarmac. Like it was weird. One time we were going through, I don't. This can't be. No, I'm not going to get in trouble for talking. I still have my security clearance. I don't. This doesn't violate any of that.
You're like,
I mean, the GWAT is ostensibly over.
we were like, we would be
allegedly.
out.
Allegedly.
and the ODA guys, they would go through villages, take the people, and then like a helicopter would show up and they'd take like a couple of them and then just disappear. And I'm like, oh, so that was definitely like not like regular military,
Yeah, they're going to a black site to get fucking tortured.
Yeah. Those were not MPs.
Yeah. But there was also times where we would like had to guard the POWs, like Taliban or ISIS-K, or maybe somebody was trying to get on base and they got like pung or something, so they had like interview connexes and everything. I don't know. The CIA is very like accessible, I guess, if you want them to be if you're in the military. I imagine the ODA guys know them more than we ever would get to. So it's a very easy transition. I'm sure to be like, hey, I've operated with you guys for the last like 5 to 10 years. I'm tired of being paid like shit. Do you want to pay me to do more so I have less rules and I can just go to these countries and do whatever the fuck I want?
Yeah.
Here's some money.
Whew. Yeah, that's gonna be a fucking wild world to
Yeah.
be a part of.
This episode is brought to you by Advanced Warfighting Solutions. Advanced Warfighting Solutions, they have quite literally everything that you need to be a lethal, super cool Instagram operator, and also just a super cool actual operator, or just a super cool civilian, or just whatever the fuck you want. They have battle belts, plate carriers, assault packs, pretty much anything nylon. They got it. So be sure to check them out. Use code ARTMORE10 on an SMU war belt, and you'll save some money. We don't get any kickback. You just save money. Huge thank you to them for supporting the show.
How's it going, lads and ladies? I'm BR, producer of the show, here to take a quick break to tell you about our Patreon. Not only do we want to continue improving the quality of what we can do here on Art and War, but we want to push what we do all over at Seaburn Art, from the guides to pursuing video content and the lofty goal of having a space for our team to make it all happen, and the Patreon helps us get after it. But what's in it for you? Our Patreon subscribers enjoy 5 different tiers of exclusive perks, ranging from all of the content the lads would post on a pre-Zuckerberg Instagram, downloadable high-resolution guides and targets including Redcoats, Skinwalkers, John Harvey Kellogg, World Economic Forum cult leaders, and more. Also, behind-the-scenes info like Nathan's personal art, spicy memes, and at our highest tier, get monthly art commissions created by Nathan himself. You can find our Patreon via the link in this episode's description at patreon.com/SeaburnArt or in the Seaburn Art page's bio on Instagram. Now let's get back to the show.
I was trying to get... There was a CIA agent who operated in the Kremlin, and I was trying to get him on the show. I reached out... So he doesn't have social media. His daughter does. And his daughter... It sounds fucking retarded, but like she has like a TikTok, and she's like asking a former CIA agent the questions you want to know, and she asks him like dumb shit. It's like, what do you think of the current political climate? And he's most of the time like, I don't know, like who cares? Like it doesn't matter. Like he's
Like, we've already decided what's happening anyway.
yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to reach out to her, and I'm like, hey, does your dad want to come on the podcast and talk about his time at the Kremlin?
Yeah. Did she reply?
No, unfortunately. I had high hopes too, because her page wasn't big.
Yeah.
And he goes on podcasts.
Yeah.
But like I listened to one of them, and like he very obviously...
Well, if she's a pretty girl on the internet, chances are you're just in like a flood of dick pics.
Yeah, well that too. But like I listened to one of the shows that he was on, and it's like a very watered down version. Like I feel like he's definitely not fully telling people shit. He's like, yeah, I worked in the Kremlin. And they're like, what did you do?
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, I was just gathering intelligence. They're like what? And he's like, just mundane things. And you just kind of report stuff. And
You
I'm
know
like,
how many pencils they keep in the stock
yeah,
room,
and I'm
and
like,
Yeah.
this dude definitely, because he operated in the Kremlin, very fluent in Russian. Like he was essentially a double agent. And but then again, I'm also like, how legit is that if like he's on social media? And then I'm like, you know, he's an old guy now. Like he probably doesn't give a
Yeah.
shit.
yeah.
I don't know.
100%.
Maybe he's
even
legit,
then,
maybe
it's
he's
like-
not. But I did want to get him on, and I couldn't.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of contradictory things about people who, like,
That's the whole
quote
point.
quote unquote high level operatives. A lot of what they did genuinely was things like how many pencils they keep in their stockroom and things like that. It just genuinely the most mundane levels of surveillance. But like, there's no denying that a lot of cloak and dagger stuff really did happen. But a lot of the really really goofy bullshit no one cares about happened, probably in a 10-to-1 ratio.
Well, that's government for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't imagine like thinking now, there has to be some type of plot where maybe not even the CIA, but the CIA or what's England's version, like M16?
MI5.
MI5 and MI6. MI5 is like
What
the
am I
FBI. MI5 is like internal terror shit and like foreign spies and stuff, and MI6 more external.
I imagine there has to be some grumblings of people trying to like assassinate Putin or something. Like I just imagine that's got to be something.
There's been talk of like coups and stuff, and like people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you raise your head up, you're getting it lopped off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mr.
So-
Bond, you're supposed to be in Monaco.
Well, there was a huge purge when the war in Ukraine started. Whatever their version of the modern KGB, the KGB essentially,
yeah.
you know, they had like a huge purge where like anybody that was even like suspected of being like a double agent, they were either like disowned or fired or taken away. And the CIA quietly, I don't know how it got exposed. There was some hearing in
Operation
Congress.
Paperclip them.
There was some investigation where Congress, and they basically admitted, they're like, yeah, we lost a lot of assets. And I'm like, oh, so we're still doing some.
Oh, yeah. That was a thing. Like, yeah, a lot of our guys have just been fucking thrown downstairs and otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of our assets and intelligence are kind of gone.
Yeah.
But fortunately they weren't employees, so we don't have to count it.
Yeah, we just kind of contracted them out,
Yeah,
they weren't official
people-
members of the CIA, so we didn't have any actual involvement.
Yeah, we didn't lose any agents. We just lost a bunch of people we were paying.
Yeah.
So the modern KGB is the FSB, and an interesting thing I think we talked about when we were talking about right before the war officially kicked off at the start of the year was the FSB. Well, maybe it was a few months after. The FSB was like very upset with a lot of them were very upset with the move to invade Ukraine, and so we're kind of like giving either bad intel or just kind of not really helping.
Is that true?
So yeah, well,
it's
no, that is a good question. That is a good question. It could just be propaganda from our side, but I believe it because I mean Putin has been in power for a long time and is kind of making those kind of desperate, I'm gonna build my legacy kind of moves that I'm sure is fucking over a ton of other people who've been doing it just as long. And intelligence people are, I mean, that's where Putin comes from. A lot of power wrapped up in those agencies. So who knows?
the oligarchs are fucking pissed because
They're losing their
their-
yachts.
all of their foreign money is now like stopped, and they're like, bro, like we need our fucking money. And he's like, nah, I want Ukraine.
Yeah. I'm cementing my legacy. Fuck your capitalist urges.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, what does winning look like? Like, they could occupy Ukraine as a military, but is that winning? Because it's going to be like Afghanistan, except European.
Yeah, which is way worse because there's like, a lot more education, resources, and all that kind of thing, Like a first world insurgency is a hell of a thing to try and stomp out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really interesting. Because, like, don't get me wrong, we gave Afghanistan and like the people of Afghanistan like a ton of assets, but like they didn't really want to fight. The Ukrainians, it seems like, I mean, in my interactions with them, they hate Russia. Like they
Yep.
want nothing. Like they are passionately against them, and we're giving them lots of assets, and they're using them. Like they're not.
Yeah.
They're not like, oh, let's go give these to the Russians to use to win. They're like, no, we're
No.
gonna give them to the Russians. Like firing that. Like it's just weird.
Well,
Um,
and when they take over a town, because we get a brief glimpse of what winning looks like to Russia whenever they take over a territory and they install their their puppets and stuff, and then you see the partisans coming along and blow shit up and assassinate the new governor of the territory. It's like that's what winning is gonna look like for Russia forever. Like it's never gonna end. There'll always be assassinations and hit jobs, even if if somehow they steamroll the rest of Ukraine with these what is it? 300,000 conscripts of Russians that don't want to be there.
yeah, I saw that. That's tough. That's
Holy
really
that-
tough.
fuck.
Yeah.
I've heard it, and again, like everything is propaganda. Everything is propaganda. So I'm always skeptical of all news, no matter what side. But I've there is no denying that morale is absolutely shit, and there is a huge outflux of people who just don't want anything to do with it, leaving Russia.
Think about morale in the US and Canada, with our militaries. It's
Oh god, it's
fucking
garbage.
abysmal. It's
Yeah.
fucking pathetic. Now, think about the quality of training they have in Russia and like how they're treated and the kind of regard for them and how basically all Russians have got to know that it's like not a good war. Like
No.
it's not the quick special military operation is now like, it's gonna go on for years.
Yeah.
And like financially, I know their country has kind of recovered a little bit. Like the ruble is now strong, but them and they are causing like a huge fucking problem for the rest of Europe with like energy.
Yeah.
But
Oh man,
how long are they going to be able to do that before other countries are like, well, gonna start looking for that justification because the energy is so low? Like I saw something in England, somebody was paying like thousands of dollars like for an apartment utility bill, and I'm like,
yeah, I've seen a lot of that.
Europe is gonna be fucked up for a minute. Like the resources are all in flux, and when they're all these countries are touching each other, it's not fucking great. I mean, Germany's buried themselves now.
yeah, and
Germany's fucked.
and
Germany's
how long
fucked.
before they look for that justification with the pressure of like everybody in their own country is starting to look to the government and be like, why the fuck is my energy like this? You need to fix the problem before they're like, okay, we should like I just wonder if they're going to start being like, we're gonna just declare war on Russia, and like we need I don't know, like how do they fix that?
I honestly, I'm not sure if they'll have the fucking means to mobilize at this rate. If people get
No.
pissed off enough, morale's gonna be so low in Western European countries that it's gonna be like, we don't want to fucking go to war right now. Like my family are struggling to keep warm in the winter. Like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah. It's
gonna be very telling after, like, during and after this winter.
Yeah, but
yeah.
okay, so let's look back in history though. That's how we got out of a depression. That's how we became like an economic powerhouse. We were in the shitter. We had so much debt. I mean, we have debt now, but we were in incredible amounts of debt. Everybody was fucking poor. Stock market was shit. Nobody was doing anything. And then World War II happened, and our economy was like, oh, everybody's going to work and support the war effort. We're going to get a fuck ton of money selling a bunch of shit, and we're going to go and do this thing. And like it essentially catalysted us into being like a superpower. So like,
somewhat artificially though.
yeah,
like it's not a sustainable way to build an economy on war.
No. Not sustainable. But you got to think these people they don't have long-term goals. They have, how do I get the most satisfaction out of everybody like immediately? We want solutions, and we want solutions now. So like, I don't know. Russia's morale is in shit. All of Europe's morale and energy is in shit. Like our economy sucks here. Like we think we have in reality, like we have a lot to complain about here. Europe is fucked right now.
Oh yeah, I am so thankful I'm not over there. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, holy fuck.
There's a lot to complain about, but when you put it in perspective, like America right now, I don't know about Canada. How's Canada doing, Nathan?
Um, our prices aren't too dissimilar from yours, I don't think. There's been obviously price hikes in terms of everything. The gas has been coming down a little lately, just like it has been with you. I was in Atlanta a couple weeks ago, and they were paying like 20% less for just gas than I am. Um, Otherwise, it is what it is. In the same inflation everyone else is dealing with. Carton eggs is like $6 now.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though that we're starting to see even over here is like both in Arizona and California. So California is now having problems with their electrical grid, which is a major thing. Like they're telling
they
people,
want everyone to move to fucking electric cars.
yeah, don't charge. People are getting told not to charge their electrical cars because it's gonna hurt the grid and like be more. We're gonna have like scheduled blackouts and shit. And then down here in Arizona, we're being told that we're going to experience water shortages like coming up, and that yep. And it's like, okay, where's this going? If we're starting to feel this like slow encroach of like resource issues, like what the fuck, man?
I don't buy that we're like, because think of all the times where this has happened before, and I don't want to say I've gotten my hopes up because that's definitely not it, but I'm like, oh, like shit's like collapsing, and then it never does. I don't
No, that's fair.
yeah, I just don't see. It'll kick and claw. I mean, eventually something's gonna happen, but it's gonna keep kicking and clawing whenever it's in a corner, and it'll gain like a couple inches again, and it'll just. I don't know. I don't see it collapsing in my lifetime, to be honest.
Like society?
Not anymore. I don't anymore. I used to.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it. If COVID isn't gonna do it, like you're telling
COVID,
me-
the deadliest virus with a fatality
so-
rate of like 0.2% or something.
if the combination of Donald Trump and the riots, and then COVID, and now Joe Biden, and now Russia like getting fucking if that's not going to like an inflation, like if we don't collapse in the next 5 years, there is no way that in my lifetime we're collapsing. I don't think.
I'm going to be telling you this from the wastelands, dude. I'm going to be soundbite back to you being like, hey Mitch, that like fucking
Maybe I'm just
childlike
hopeful.
bravado, how's that working out for you?
Maybe I'm just hopeful, but like I just don't-
as we're all sitting around eating cat food.
Yeah, it's the only thing. I'm not going to say that like everything's going to collapse. I'm not going to say that it's not going to collapse. All I can say for sure is I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm not proud enough to be like, yes, I have the answer. It's going to happen on this date. I'm not proud enough to say like, no, it will not happen because these minor things didn't happen. It's like everything is, a straw on a camel's back. Things might get really bad. They might not. Who knows? People and like we ask a lot of the people who come onto this show kind of behind the scenes what their outlooks are going to be, and they're generally, I don't want to say pessimistic, it's generally like this isn't going to be the way it is forever, and history has kind of shown that if things don't get bad in the next 5 years, maybe they'll get bad in a different way. Maybe we're going to be living in like Brave New World or just something else. Maybe some massive ecological disaster. Maybe Kim Jong-un decides fuck it one day and just the nukes start flying. Who knows? But I can't tell the future, and none of us are precogs.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, but you don't see a lot of things. Like you often get stuff in your head where you're like, yes, this is how I see it, and then this is the only way that it can go. And
no,
then
I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Like it could. I just don't. I don't know what else. Like think of
do
all
it.
of the catalysts.
Imagine if COVID had a fatality rate of 5%. Imagine if it was 10%. Imagine like if inflation happened again, but it was like instead of the 9.8, it was 20 or 30. Like all of the things that we've had are fairly minor compared to what they could have been and weren't.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, one theory that had a lot of people buzzing during the whole 2020 2021 thing was that this was like a stress test.
Yeah.
That was a lot, and all fucking tinfoil hat shit. But it's like because a lot of it was, the threat wasn't necessarily from what we were being told to look out for, like COVID itself. It was more just people's reaction to it and people's panicking with like panic buying and all that like weird behaviors that wouldn't happen if there wasn't an artificial kind of influence, like like the news ramping everything up and like the riots and all the rest of it. Was that okay? Let's see how the populace does if everything goes to shit.
Yeah,
and it's like, I don't know. If people were like, 10-20% more scared, or if they felt like, hey, my water's not turning on, or my water's not clean, or the electricity's been out for 2 weeks now, and like, you start, because we never got to a point, really, like, people lost their jobs and stuff, but it never got to a point like, people just don't work anymore because it's better to go out and look for food than work for it kind of deal,
Yeah.
So, fuck knows. But,
Yeah.
gentlemen, we're about 40 minutes deep and we've been ranting about the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, not the entire time, just like a bit of it.
Yeah, the CIA and their podcast, and then the end of the world.
Yeah.
Dumb fucking.
Welcome to your first episode of Schizocast, Mitch.
Well, it's like fucking the FBI was like, hey, you want to know what we should do? Let's start a reality TV show where we follow a couple agents around.
Let's start a reality TV show to like distract people from the fact we groom mass shooters and also killed Martin Luther King Jr. Like
facts,
actual facts got proven in court in '99.
Wasn't it like civil court, whatever?
It was civil court. They sued the American government for killing Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King Jr.'s family sued the American government and won. They won. And basically everyone who's involved in the assassination has come out and straight up talked about how they did it in like sworn affidavits. And it's been proved in court. And, people just forget about that. People just fucking forget that the FBI killed Martin Luther King Jr., assassinated him.
It's so...
There you go, that's the promo.
That's not even fucking like conspiracy theory. It's like as close to... No, it's
historic fact as you can get.
Yeah. Like basically everyone involved with it has admitted it.
It's just so. It's literally retarded. Like
Yes.
It's not a good. It's like if Joe Biden right now as president of the United States is like, I'm going to start a podcast. Like think of the obviously
give it
you
2
have, like,
weeks.
the transfer or not the transfer, like the power structure where it's like president and like whatever the fuck. Nancy Pelosi, I think, is like after the vice president or something.
Yeah.
The director of the
House.
CIA, in terms of like power, influence, and control over Washington, is right up there with them. And they have a fucking podcast while they're active, not retired. This isn't a retired director of the CIA. This is like the active, like, don't you have a fucking job to do? Like, don't you have other shit that you should, like,
have you
national
noticed
security, maybe? I don't know. Why are you sitting down and recording a podcast?
Have you noticed this weird thing with like government aid? And they've always done it, but I find it very jarring now. I think they're really ramping it up, probably to combat these. And we should get into like the military and recruiting thing. But I've noticed a huge ramp up to try and appeal to like Gen Z, whatever. Fuck off, I'm Canadian. But
well, they're like humanizing these very faceless, spooky agencies and entities, aren't they?
Yeah. Like an example of it is, and this isn't a government agency, but like the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon is sponsoring like a Fortnite map or something. And
what the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And I see all these government agencies doing things like that. Remember that video game America's Army? Like back in the day, this fucking Call of Duty knockoff multiplayer where you just play as like Americans versus terrorists. But no matter what, you're skinned as the Americans and the other team is skinned as terrorists.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. So you, like the player, is always playing as U.S. Army.
Yeah. At least I'm pretty sure. It's been like 20 years since I've played it. But yeah, and it was like a military-sponsored game. And it actually worked. Like I know a bunch of people who played it, and then I joined the military, so I guess like
well, that's what Top Gun was. Top Gun was it is to this day literally military propaganda that was funded
Yeah.
by the military to help with recruiting numbers. And Air Force recruiting numbers after the most recent Top Gun came out was like it jumped up like a significant percent because of that movie.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Fuck's sakes, we're doing so well, you know.
Oh, what was it that you were reading that was talking about like social media veteran culture was
Yes, this would be good.
was hurting recruitment numbers?
So I think it was, I don't remember if it was DOD or the DOJ. It's probably the DOD. So their recruiting numbers are dog shit, like worse that they have ever been, and the recruiting pool is smaller than it's ever been since when was it? It was like pre-World War I.
2000. Oh, that far back.
Yeah,
Holy
it was
shit.
like not the recruiting numbers, the recruiting pool. So the people that
Yeah.
are eligible to even serve, it's lower than it's ever been since it was like pre-World War One, and
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
I have no idea. It sounded like someone just drove through your room.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or don't. Just leave it in there. It's world building. Oh, nice airsoft gun.
But but they released a thing and they're like, why do our recruiting numbers suck? And they blame, so they're trying to figure out a way to counter it. They're blaming disgruntled and disillusioned vets on social media for influencing people to not join the military as like the number one cause for why the recruiting numbers suck.
That's just encouragement, guys. Like, don't tell us that. I will go harder.
Yeah.
So they're trying to figure out a way to counter it by, and I don't know how, but it sounds almost like now the CIA podcast. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there was. Well, there was. Remember what was it? Was it the Air Force or the Army? I was showing you guys the other night why we joined. They started a podcast, and
yeah.
so badly that they just like defunded it and nixed it. But they are actively trying to counter the narrative being pushed out by all of these vets of like, don't join the military. It's terrible. And it's really hurting their numbers, and it's great to see, honestly.
Well, you've seen the gaming teams and stuff, right?
Yeah, the esports, they started doing that probably like the last 2 years I was in.
Yeah, like their Twitter account is wild. I think that there's like some screenshot from the US. I think it's US Army gaming account responding to some anime shit, going like "ooh woo." US Army gaming team. It's like ah.
Yeah, like you're trying so fucking hard. That was the example I was trying to think of.
So the Army has, like we have Olympic boxers and wrestlers, and their only job is to box and wrestle. Like one of our guys, he's a recruiter now, actually, ironically. He, for the first like 3 years of his career, all he did was box. And it turned like he got this job in the Army when he originally joined to be an infantryman. He got in some fights in basic training. His drill sergeants were like, yo, like you actually know how to fight. And he's like, yeah, I did some boxing a little bit before the Army. He's a big old Spanish dude. And then he gets to his unit, and his drill sergeants reached out to his first sergeant, was like, hey, this dude knows how to fight. So the drill sergeant was, or the first sergeant was like, oh, well, we'll get him set up. I forget what the program is called. And he got accepted, and he went on to compete for the United States Army as a boxer, and that was his entire job. Like, and he got promoted to an NCO by doing this. And they have soccer teams,
musicians.
Yeah, they have all of that. Like, and then they added esports, and esports was like, it was very obvious that it was an attempt to get other people to join because they couldn't get people to join. And I had a soldier, the same one, the biggest piece of shit that I've ever met in my career. The same guy I've talked about many times before. He, after facing like adverse action on the verge of being kicked out, he's like, hey, Sergeant, I was wondering if you could direct me to the esports NCO. And I'm like, what?
Like fucking what?
Yeah. And it exists. It exists. A job in the Army. I mean, you can't enlist as it. The way that these programs work, you can't just enlist and be like, I'm going to go enlist as, a fucking video game player or a pro COD player. You can't do that. You have to do it while you're in. There's like tryouts and everything. But Yeah, you can go play Call of Duty and Battlefield and whatever other esports competitions the army.
Well, I guess we're all joining the military again.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
Oh, yeah, you sure? Don't you want to pwn some noobs? You want to 1v1 me in Rust, noob?
Dude, I can do that from the comfort of my couch with my peace pipe in hand, and no one telling me to shave. So,
Yeah,
no, thank you.
I'm disqualified from service forever.
Unless you come to Canada, in which case you can have pink hair and a beard now.
No, if I went to
And you
Canada,
can smoke weed.
Yeah.
I mean, if I
Wild.
I can smoke weed in New York.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or if I went to Canada, the VA would just try to get me to kill myself, so they don't have to.
It's like, welcome to Canada. You get a box in the mail. You open it up, and it's just a noose.
It's well, here's your assisted suicide kit if you ever just feel the urge. Here
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Like,
It's
it
like
would really.
a 3D printed Liberator and a 38 bullet.
It would really help us offset our healthcare costs. Do your part for Canada.
Serve your country.
Yeah, aren't you a patriot?
Yeah. This is totally unrelated, and we're going to get back, but I'm going to schizo rant about how much I hate the gun industry for a second.
Please go on.
So I was just in Atlanta with Print Shoot Repeat. I imagine this is going to come out the week after. And a friend of mine, she brought her revolver. It was this weird thing. It was a double-barreled 22 Magnum. One really big trigger you had to pull with 2 fingers. I'm just going to send like a link of it in the chat. It's set S333 was the
Wait. A double-barreled 22 revolver.
22 Magnum revolver that shot 2 shots every time you pulled the trigger.
Kind of based.
It sounds kind of like interesting. When the S333 Thunderstruck. Hold on, I know this isn't making good podcast material, but I don't care.
That's what Post is for.
That's what Post is for, and for whatever reason, my computer updated and it's being really fucking slow. So because of the trigger, you can only pull it. You can only shoot it with one hand because you physically cannot hold it with 2, unless you teacup. The bullets go, I think, about a foot high at 7 yards, I want to say.
What the fuck?
And so, I tried it.
Arced like a fucking rainbow?
What is the purpose of this firearm?
I don't know. And I tried it, and I thought, it's got an absurdly fucking heavy trigger, and I'm shooting at a target that's like spitting distance. So I'm hitting about a foot high, grouping all over the place. I hand it to PSR, who shoots a fucking lot of handguns, and he's also hitting about a foot high. And it confused me. It's like, why the fuck does this revolver exist, and who carries one, and why would you carry one? Like it's bigger than a 30. Well, it's as big as a 38 special, and it sucks in every way. So I get home and just I'm feeling kind of retarded and I want to kill some brain cells. So I look up reviews of it. And all of the reviews for what is ostensibly probably the worst handgun I've ever used are stellar. They're like, yes, this is amazing. It hits a foot high, but you're probably not using it outside of punching range anyway. I could not, as far as I looked, find a single person who disliked it. And their justification was like, well, it hits 2 bullets at once and it always goes bang. It's like, so is that the bar?
The standard.
That's the standard. It always goes bang, I guess.
I think I'd rather carry a fucking blunderbuss.
Yeah, I think I'd rather carry like a wrench, like
Bioshock style.
It sounds like a fun firearm. Like
what the?
Oh yeah, you just opened it.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. And if you listen to this podcast and buy one after hearing this, I hate you, and you're everything that's wrong with the world.
It looks like fun.
It's not even fun. You can't hit what you're fucking aiming at.
That's
dude.
fun.
This looks like something that an alien civilization would be carrying. Like if they landed and they had a sidearm, you're like, oh, what the fuck are you guys carrying?
It looks dope. It looks dope. I love space guns. Like I love the Keltec KSG. I love like weird looking things, like that new Keltec gun that like you hinge the top open and put P90 mags in it. I love that shit, but they work like with, or at least they're within a standard deviation of working. And this one, it's like you aim for your at like, I don't know, a home invader or your drunk uncle or something, and you hit the kid on the stairs behind him or something. This thing is just a piece of shit. To get shot center mass, I had to shoot at the pelvis.
It's actually genius. So you aim, like stomach, and then that's how you get a headshot. It's fucking genius.
It's genius.
It's genius.
God damn.
Like, it's such a piece of shit. It's such a piece of shit. But yeah, that's all. It's I couldn't find a single bad review, which leads me to believe it's like these reviews are one, bought and paid for, and or two, people don't want to spoil their relationships with the people who send them free guns. So they'll just write a stellar review of fucking whatever.
This episode is brought to you by the Thunderstruck Gen 2. Thunderstruck Gen 2.
S333 double barrel revolver. If you aim at the stomach, it'll hit him in the face, maybe.
Looks like it belongs in Blade Runner. And looking cool as half the battle.
Kind of, actually. Like it does look dope. I don't even care. It looks dope, but it's just so retarded. No trigger guard, 23-pound pull. Fuck that.
Yeah, if you already own a yeet cannon, this is your next purchase.
Yes.
I bet Aaron, Admin Results, would do a review on this.
Oh, well,
100%.
I kind of want him to.
Send it over to him.
I mean, I'm not going to fucking I'm not going to use my real American dollars to buy an S333 Thunderstruck Gen 2
thing and be like, hey, I want to see this. I want Sergey to go attack Russians with this or something.
It's $430. That's like the price of a trade-in Glock.
And it's legal in 3 states.
Yeah, $429.
That's kind of cool.
Like,
wait, what makes it illegal in the 47 other states?
I think because a single pull of the trigger, it's kind of like in the same legal category as a binary trigger. I think.
What 3 states allow this? I need to know.
No. 3 states. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Massachusetts, Maryland, and California, it's banned.
Yeah, although the Gen 1 is legal in California.
Oh, Gen 1.
Imagine if this fucking thing is on the roster.
Yeah.
Like, why?
These revolvers are far more superior to any other automatic pistol, which are rendered useless when they jam or misfire. Holy fuck, who wrote this?
Wait. Is that in the description or the
review? On their site right now, these revolvers are far more superior, redundant, to any other automatic pistol. Other automatic pistol, implying that it's automatic. Which are
man.
They need people who like can speak the English fucking language, which are useless when they jam or misfire.
I put hundreds of rounds through my Thunderstruck, and it held up very well so far.
Didn't hit shit, but it shot.
Yeah. With 4 pulls of the trigger makes the S333 Thunderstruck the most redundant and reliable personal protection firearm when your life is on the line. Interesting choice of words there. They're calling their pistol redundant.
Incredible.
Like, who? And like R&D went into this. Like, R&Ding stuff is fucking hard and it's expensive.
Knuckle dusting snake gun, sweet little shooter, 5 stars.
All right, maybe we're just meant to put like rat shot in it.
This is clinical.
Redundant, synonyms, unnecessary, not required, inessential, expendable, unwanted, useless.
But in that case, it's an honest review.
At least they're honest. Yeah, this is their site.
Fucking wild.
This is so clinical.
Those are like on their site. The reviews are lower than any of the ones that I found from third parties.
Do they make other stuff?
I don't know.
Standard manufacturing.
This is all they sell.
Pistols, rifles, shotguns. I'm gonna go to rifles. Okay, they've got a bunch of like garden variety AR things, probably OEM by someone else. What the fuck? I'm just gonna send something to the chat. I take it back.
Does it get worse?
Does it get worse?
I'm just going to. I can't. I can't.
I need to
I'm
see
so
this.
excited. Oh my god, that looks like it's like a
Wow.
Thompson.
It's like
like
a
a-
Thompson.
With
It's like a
the,
space Thompson.
Like it's a space Thompson. It's a Keymod space Thompson, but it's retarded.
wait, why is the handguard and the upper? I don't even know if you could call that an upper receiver. Like,
Why does the upper receiver have Keymod drilled into it? I don't know.
No, no,
Mitch.
no.
I don't know.
why does it have key mod drilled into it? But why also like it looks like they're not attached. It looks like one's
Yeah.
bent forward and the other is bent upwards.
Dude, and then there's key mod above the action. Like
Oh
you
my
can mount something like right above the trigger.
Yeah. Don't
What
even
the
get me
fuck?
started on that fucking length of pull. Like this thing is designed for Andre the Giant. I
Fine,
hate this
and it's in
company. I don't
22.
know. Like I think we found the one company that does more coke than Keltec.
Jesus Christ, that must be expensive.
Oh my god.
This is outstanding.
I'm sorry to go on like a gun rant here. It's just like
With an optional 50 round drum magazine.
holy fuck.
Yeah, Nathan, you used the term turbo autism the other day.
Yes.
I would describe this as turbo cocaine use.
This is like dude, this isn't cocaine. This is like Keltec does cocaine. This is crystal meth.
Wait. Provisions for mount. This is a description of the firearm. Provisions for mounting all types of accessories through the generous amounts of key mod, M-lock, and Picatinny rail mounting provisions.
Anywhere there was space to put dick mod, they were like, drill it.
Drill the dick mod.
I guarantee whoever designed this too was like patting himself on the back, being like, "Yes, this is revolutionary. This will change the game." Like I
It's gonna win
fucking-
something at SHOT Show.
Yeah, no, I guarantee it. Yeah, you're right. There's like all three. There's like 2 things of key mod. There's 2 things of M-lock. Then 2 things of key mod. Then 2 things. Like why?
I would love to see one of these where someone mounts something like across the
Yeah.
ejection port.
What do you mean
Yeah.
mount?
just because I have no idea.
I genuinely want to be like a fly on the wall when this thing got made.
Oh god, what's this company's? Oh god, so at least I promise you, one listener will buy one of these firearms.
No, don't fucking do it.
Do
I'm
it.
not saying the name
Do
of this
it.
company again.
Buy
I don't
it.
want it to happen. I don't want them to make a fucking dollar from this.
Buy.
It would be
Firearms.
really irresponsible as editor and producer of me to put the links to these firearms in the description. And I
Absolutely
just,
no.
No.
I
The
might.
links.
Oh,
I
it's so
I might.
bad.
Or-
Someone will buy it though. Is the thing. Like I know someone will buy it, and I don't want them to.
I want them to. I want
want
to see
them
what
to?
they mount to it. I am intrigued.
a night
How much
force
is it?
optic
How-
and a Chad defensive light on a
Dude,
G4S
This
22
fucking
long rifle.
22. This G4S 22LR semi-auto. It looks like someone mashed together a High Point and a Thompson, and
It's
somehow
only
it made them both work.
$650, Nathan.
It's $650
It's only
plus a $50 shipped, so it's $700.
with
There's a
an
fixed
optional
shipping cost of $50
round
plus
drum
tax.
magazine, Nathan.
Yeah,
50 round drum magazine optional.
dude.
Well, it's
imagine
great.
you have this and you just mount 2 of those double-barreled revolvers to the side, like right on the, like right on the side of the receiver, right in
You're
front of
on
where
the-
you would be.
You run the mag dry and then you're just side gripping it.
I want it.
Bullets would, like run into each other. Fuck.
22 mag.
How did you find?
Oh my. Yeah, how the fuck did you?
oh,
you-
what's her
you-
face? What's her face? You shot one. Was
Yeah.
it Angelica?
Yes.
Angelica.
Yeah. No. She's cool.
Angelica,
Incredible.
you're out there crushing it. Why do you have that? I want.
Why do you have?
Why do you have?
Does she own it like at least a Glock 19 or something?
Yeah. No. She has a Glock. I think she just got it from
Angelica's
memes.
I've never met her, but she's dope. She has a bunch of AKs.
Yeah. Yes.
She's
And,
cool.
She works at Icon Weapons, which is she brought her Galil, the one with the 8-inch barrel. I was surprised. I didn't think like 8-inch barrel 5.56 could do anything, but we were pinging targets at 300 meters with it.
8
Yeah,
inch.
it's kind of 8-inch. I didn't think it would stay. I wouldn't buy an 8-inch fucking 5.56 rifle, but I didn't think that it was capable of accuracy. I genuinely didn't think there was a use to it.
Well, I mean, 4 times larger than my dick, and I can hit something with that. So, I imagine.
Ayo.
Hey!
Speaking about your dick, this is episode 69.
It is.
Oh, nice.
69.
Nice.
And now that we're an hour deep of nonsense, I guess it's
Has
time.
it been an hour? It does not feel like it's been an hour.
I guess it's time to maybe dig
Well,
into
maybe
the.
it's like 3 minutes of usable content.
Yeah, I'll cut it down. It'll be like a 3-minute intro from the first hour.
Yeah.
But no, I figured, seeing as it was episode 69, we would do something a little bit different. And seeing as we all answer Q&As separately, especially you two on the page, you have, art
Yeah,
guy
I've done the
question
Q&A
days,
Yeah.
and Mitch does his thing, and then I do mine on my page. I figured it would be interesting to kind of just do a amalgamation of all of that and answer the people's questions on the show live, and kind of give our different opinions on what the people have to ask. Apparently it's mostly shitpost questions, but
Yeah.
we'll.
I think there was one really important question that I do think we need to touch on. I didn't get a chance to look at most of them, thanks to the world ender storm that's going to take me out at any minute.
Yeah. We haven't even touched the questions. You might just get killed before we even touch this stuff.
No, it's possible. So I really want to get this out of the way early. How many raccoons do you think you could fight with a baseball bat?
Wait. And are we talking like, a slugger, or
We're going to Louisville Slugger. Let's make
right.
it hardwood, not aluminum.
all right.
I think the bat breaks before I get tired. Like they're little raccoons.
Just covered in parts of raccoon blood and little hands.
I'm not exaggerating. My buddy, really good friend of mine from the army, he's out now. We were at Fort Drum, and the fucking raccoons there, they would steal your shit at night. They would descend from the trees, speaking their little fucking raccoon language, and they would come and take your shit. They would take mags. You would be on the range, and you'd see a raccoon running with like a fucking PMag or something. They're fucking
They're a loot drop.
they are, the raccoons on the Fort Drum training area are fucking insane.
That's
And
awesome.
We had dealt with them for
Dude,
like
that
2
is-
years.
That is a CIA op. I put money on that. That's a CIA op. Like they have trained raccoons.
They're just fucking with the soldiers.
One of my good friends, he grew up really poor in Oregon, and he had to hunt and poach essentially to survive with his family. I mean, maybe not to survive, but like he had to, like, he wasn't like a fucking.
Sorry, I'm not laughing at the poaching thing. I'm just laughing at with his airsoft gun.
But
My peace pipe.
so he was a really good friend of mine, and we strung up our hammocks together, and we're sleeping, and we had to like hang up our shit, and jokingly we made like we shaved some sticks to like spikes, and just because we had a war against the raccoons, like everybody had a war against the raccoons, so we shaved some sticks and we stuck them around our stuff, and we're like, oh, these fucking raccoons are coming here, like as a joke. Middle of the night.
When the raccoons fucking skewer themselves?
No, they never did. But middle of the night, I hear them descending from the trees, because that's what they would do, and they're fucking doing their little raccoon shit. And all of a sudden, I hear a thump, and one of them is like screaming, like losing their fucking mind. And we were doing like live fires, so we lit fires. We probably weren't allowed to, but we did anyway. And over the coals, I see this guy in his underwear, barefoot, squatted down, and he's like, Kaz, I got it. And I'm like, what? He's like, I fucking got it. And he goes over, and there's an impaled raccoon on one of these fucking things. He used it as a fucking spear, and it's just wailing, screaming.
Oh my god!
And I'm like,
oh my god!
Dude. And like the whole fucking patrol base like wakes up, and I'm like, fucking kill it. But yeah,
just
the
like,
fucking.
You just leave it impaled to the stick as a warning to the rest of them.
So yeah,
my guy returned to monkey.
The point being, I have a personal vendetta against raccoons, so I would definitely.
Really? Because that makes me like raccoons even more.
No, they're.
I don't know about you, but it's like.
You can relate.
I have a standing thing where I try and make friends with the local wildlife. And I know, eventually ranch life or anything like that, I'm going to have to do the opposite of that. But as it stands, like, I try and make friends with them, because the crows especially. I make a point, if I see crows, I will walk outside and give them peanuts. And they've started bringing gifts.
You ever see wild thornberries?
Yeah.
You're the fucking little schizo.
Well, one of these days I will become Nigel, because they've started bringing me fucking gifts. Like, I come out and there's shiny things on my deck.
Smashing.
Yeah, smashing. But yeah, no, the fact that these animals have, like, not only do they have loyalty kind of programmed into their code, not necessarily loyalty, but like the idea of gift giving and gratitude. I think that's fucking adorable, and I love that. So I'm going to keep feeding them peanuts.
So, all right. So Mitch thinks he can just infinite. You're on 0 because you would ally.
0 because I would feed them and make them my best friends.
I would not feed them.
I love them. I would give them my PMEGs if they had a use for them. Not all of them, but
Raccoon militia.
Yeah, no, I would arm the raccoon. They got thumbs. They've got fucking thumbs. They got opposable thumbs.
You're just out in the field. You never need anyone to resupply you because they're just bringing you you show them brass bullets. And you're like, these, lots of these.
Exactly. Like I will give them cat food in exchange for PMEGs and ammo.
I mean, raccoons are basically just like cats with hands.
Exactly.
They're fucking weird animals.
Yeah,
and cats like me, so probably raccoons will as well.
Everything that we had, if you didn't tie it down at night, you had a chance of waking up and seeing like a raccoon like running away with it.
Yeah, that's based. That's awesome.
And like you would just be at the training area doing whatever, and you would just see raccoons running around with like gear, and you're like holding in their little like.
You sure they weren't Marines?
How does that not make you? How do you not like raccoons after that experience?
Yeah, honestly, that's endearing as fuck.
No,
that's fucking
I don't want them
awesome.
to take my shit. Like, they can
Well, don't let them take your shit. Tie it down, or
I would show them.
Shit.
I would show them what a PVS 14 was, and just let them loose on like a National Guard base.
just running out with just like arms full of megs and stuff. I wonder if like crows have that like gratitude thing. They will bring you things that they think you want, just like shiny objects.
Old women's jewelry.
Yeah, I've heard of that. They'll like bring coins and women's jewelry. I wonder if raccoons kind of have that programmed into them, where they will just bring you stuff in exchange for what they actually want, which is cat food.
It's worth a go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go about this very, very systematically. So apparently raccoons can weigh between 7.7 pounds and 20 pounds.
Ooh. So that's a big boy.
They can be chunks. They can be big old fucking chunks. And if we're dealing with a swarm situation, and I'm sitting here with my Louisville Slugger, I mean,
define a swarm. Like, is it endless? Are there like?
Yeah.
Like it's how many can you take? So they're just coming.
Yeah, we should have defined the parameters.
How many at a time?
Beforehand.
Like millions.
Are these around? Are they? Can you funnel them into a hallway or something?
Wait. So what was the question? Was it like? How was it phrased? Because
like we need to define the parameters. How many of them are coming at you at a time? What is the general environment? Because if it's like a fucking baseball stadium, then it's different because they can approach you from all sides. They can, and like a raccoon approaching you from the back is different than 5 raccoons approaching you from the front.
Do they know how to ambush? Do they know how to flank?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they coordinated? Like, what's
that team cohesion like?
Yeah, can you funnel them into a hallway or something and just
Are we giving them a Josh Lurie question of it depends?
Yeah.
Not enough context.
I'm gonna say, boldly, I'm going to say 15 to 20 in a row, like just all hitting me as they can. Climbing up my back, taking my ankles out. Eventually, I'm not gonna be able to swing at my feet. I'm gonna be bleeding from too many spots. I'm gonna wither away. I'm saying, on a good day, 30, but I'm succumbing for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a realistic number. It'd probably be what mine is too if I couldn't lure them with cat food. Which is just like Goku, I guess.
My hatred will fuel me to kill the raccoons.
Oh,
his rage from having his PMEG stolen.
Now, if I had a G4S 16.5 inch 22 long rifle, Thompson Dick Mod rifle.
Oh, they're all bad.
You probably get like
With
three
the
rounds
mag.
that hit super
They're
high
done.
before it jams.
Like, come on, no!
I gotta go.
Christ.
How
There's
did
no reviews of it on the site, which probably means, like, has anyone even bought this thing? G4S.
somebody has to have
They sold at least one.
at
There's-
least?
Yeah, there has to be something. Like I'm looking up reviews.
I've dragged us back down the fucking
Dragged-
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
How did
All right, Mitch.
How did Mitch Nathan meet BR?
Well, it was a cold night in Paris.
How did you?
Um,
I know how I met you, Nathan. How did you meet him?
How did I meet BR?
Yeah,
I guess-
followed BR about as long as I followed you back when I went
Really?
down the hole. Yeah, both of you.
oh wow.
what
like,
was that like?
Yeah.
Was that like the OG Bloody Revolutions or?
Yeah, like many accounts ago.
Wow.
Like before interacting with either of you, I followed you guys when I was like really inactive, wasn't doing anything. And I think y'all helped shape my politics a little and just like overall outlook. Yeah.
Imagine that Mitch radicalizing Nathan.
Oh no, it
my
was
fault.
yeah. I just remember, oh my god, this is a while ago. I will not say what job that I had, but I think my sense of humor got really poisoned at that point. I was in kind of my corporate job that you both know about a little bit, and I was in just a briefing room, and someone talks about. I think someone brought up politicians, and I mentioned
Tickling.
from overpasses just as a joke, and then I forgot.
Christ.
It was a BR. Maybe censor that. Maybe
Tickling some politicians from an overpass.
yes.
Christ.
And I thought it was the funniest thing in the fucking world. This is right when the memes were like the big B word, the boogaloo memes were everywhere, and just like, and I totally forgot that most people don't share this sense of humor, especially at the time. But yeah, no, I followed you guys for ages, and when you and I started talking was after Mitch, like Mitch introduced me to you.
Yeah.
In terms of actual interaction. But before that, I just followed you.
Like, wait. So was the question, how did we all meet, or just?
How did us two meet you?
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
So,
you two met separately from me, I believe. Yeah, Mitch, you can answer that for yourself. I was about to do it for you for no reason.
I mean, essentially, years ago, I saw you were big, and I had listened.
to my OG podcast,
Yeah.
the E-Militia podcast,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is definitely still active and running.
And I just reached out, and I'm like, "Hey, can I have a shout out?"
Oh, you fucking bitch!
Cringe.
Yeah.
You fucking cringe!
I know.
Cringe.
Well, no. Here's the thing. Like, it's a weird. Social media is a weird world with that kind of thing because, like, you know, a rising tide lifts all boats, and if you're about spreading good information and educational knowledge, then you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, absolutely, and that's what this community should be about. But you've also got people who are just there for clout and who just want kind of recognition. They're like, hey man, can I get a shout out? It's like, you're not helping anyone,
No.
so no. You know, like I don't care to do that personally. I don't want to, you know, devalue when I share people with my audience because you want it to be like, you always want people to check out the people you're sharing because there's value for them if they do, you know? So way back when, before we had the illustrated guides, Mitch was putting together written guides, I think with the help of your wife, later on for the design-wise part of it. But, you know, basic stuff about Seaburn, where the Seaburn part of the page comes from, and, you know, medical, even some gardening stuff. And I was like, fuck yeah, because I'd also been doing guides way back when before I got imposter syndrome and left it to the smarter people. And so yeah, when you asked for a shout out, I was like, well, sure as fuck, man. And and then we'd been talking a little bit, and but you flew one of my flags at a gun rally way back when.
I did. The only rally I ever went to in my entire life. It was, you know, it was a rally, but I did fly the flag. But what ended up happening with that, it was also a food drive. So at the time, I had sold stickers, I think it was. Like really, I don't even know who did the design at the time. I don't remember. I paid someone to do the design, and I had
Oh, the Return to Sender one?
maybe no pre that even. Oh, it was patches too.
Look at you paying your artists.
I smartened up and I just gave them ownership of the page now.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm just being a dick.
Yeah, and I had made probably close to $900 to $1,000, I think, in that stuff. And what I ended up,
Look at like, oh, Mitch, merch is cringe, Mitch.
yeah, I don't make merch anymore. But at the time, I'm like, but here's what I did with the money. I took it and went to Costco and bought, and I had a truck at the time, and I filled it up with like canned goods, non-perishables, and I drove that to
That
the
was
gun
really
range.
cool.
And I'm like, oh well, there's a food drive here, and they had to go get another truck because they weren't expecting that much. And I had your flag too. They weren't happy because
That's awesome.
yeah, they weren't happy about the flag, but they were happy about the hundreds of dollars of food for the food drive, so that was cool.
Mixed reaction.
Yeah, a bit of a mixed reaction, but I remember exactly like when you posted it. I remember I'm like I was sitting there on the couch because the page was doing well at the time. I went from like 100 to like 500 followers, and I'm like, holy shit! And I turned, I'm like, this is gonna be huge.
Hey, what do you know? It
I
was.
mean, yeah, long term it turned out.
100 fucking K.
But I remember at the time, and you had posted that. So there were a couple big breaks. Yours was like the first one I think that I had where you're like, I normally don't really do this, but this guy, I don't know why it just made you sound like a bitch. You were basically like, I normally don't really do this, but this guy's putting out like good information on a topic I don't see anybody talking about, and I'm like, oh shit, that's fucking dope. And then there were a couple other catalysts to the page then, but
Yeah, we started to bring you on as a guest for the first time because at that point, I
was
think
honored.
prior to the rally, I mean, it's a whole other fucking story. But a lot of Liberty Instagram thought you might have been a woman just because you hadn't said if you weren't or not, and somehow. That's a whole other thing. I don't want to get too deep into that, but you got invited to like a girls group chat, and eventually you're like, I'm not like a woman.
So bad.
Like what? my co-host Mel was like, amongst others, were like, what the fuck? But anyway,
I love Mel.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Mel.
Yeah.
But yeah. Eventually, we started getting you to come on the podcast to share a bit more information about prepping and that kind of thing, of all description with us, and yeah, kind of went from there. And then, really, when I got involved with this team was when you guys were like, finally, hey, we're gonna start doing a podcast as well because we're not busy enough.
Yeah, but what ended up happening, I remember even before I wanted to kind of get in, because don't get me wrong, we were like, we talked and we communicated a lot, but I think now, I mean, we had met now because of the show and everything.
Yeah.
We've definitely grown into a friendship.
Oh, yeah.
But prior to that, I remember I had an idea to do like a show on Instagram. It was really fucking cringe, where I like trolled questions. It was like Vogue or whatever that magazine is, like 100 questions with, and like I had like scripted moments where it's like, and now a moment from our sponsors, and then I just paused and I'm like, we don't have any sponsors, like trying to get me. And that was
Mitch playing the straight man and the comedy.
Yeah, it was tough. And I remember I tried because I was like, man, there's a lot of fucking podcasts. And this was back when everybody has a podcast now, but this was like everyone had a fucking podcast.
Because that was like the lockdowns, right? Like 2020, when everyone was just like, fuck it, I'm not doing anything.
I think a little before the lockdowns. Yeah, no, this was 2019, 2018. And this was like the peak B-word memes. And everyone seemed to have a podcast. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. I want to do my own thing. So I made this really cringe show. I only had like 4 episodes. My wife drew like a little thing. It was
a little card.
Yeah, like the little. I still have
a little physical title card.
Yeah, and I would just put that up because I didn't want to like show like my face or anything. And I did that like a couple times. And it was really fucking cringe. And then probably fast forward a year and a half or two. No, more than that, maybe 2 years, where Nathan was now involved with the page.
So
And
Intro, Nathan.
how many pages have we gone through, Nathan?
I think
3?
just the 2.
2?
The 3, maybe?
You lucky cunt.
Yeah, this is the third one,
I
right?
think 3, actually. The second one picked up a lot. And then the third one...
Yeah, you guys went from like maxing out at like what 30K to, and then it just kind of
Yeah.
as more and more big names started to pay attention to you and share your stuff. Like I think kind of Lucas, T-Rex Arms, and them kind of picked up on you, and then more and more were like, oh yeah, these guys are legit talking about stuff that isn't talked about. And then when you came on, you know, showing information in a very accessible way, everyone's like, oh fuck yeah, this is awesome.
Well, Lucas was
So
the
admittedly, I've been
original.
very slow on it lately.
Like,
Sorry.
like not saying you weren't big at the time with Bloody Revolutions, but Lucas Botkin, I talked to him about it on our first episode. I was at like 6,000 followers on my original account, and he, not to a story, literally, I had never heard of him before. Literally posted
You didn't hear about anyone before. You didn't even know who
his
fucking
feed,
Yeah.
like a screen cap of my profile and some like information that I had posted and a whole description about like how cool it was, like my page was, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? I'm like, this is cool. And I sent him a message and about like sharing like a 50 cal. I quoted like a Bible verse too.
What?
I wanted a 50 cal and I saw he had one and I'm like, oh, this is a funny way to yeah. And then so fast forward, what I was getting to, Nathan's involved. I don't know how long, because we've been doing this for over a year now, but Nathan has been a part of the page for
longer.
over 2 years, coming up in 3 years, I think.
Wild.
So
Because it would have been early.
it was in the pandemic.
It was early pandemic, like early before it really locked down. We were interacting pre-pandemic, I think.
Yeah, we
like,
were.
I think I did my first thing before the pandemic. I was still working, so it was definitely pre-pandemic.
Yeah. And then I remember. Oh, I just hit the mic.
Beat the fuck out of that thing.
I remember we had the idea to start. Well, I had the idea, I think, to start a podcast, and Nathan's like, "Oh,
Yeah, that's like over a year in.
Yeah, and you wanted to do it from your phones, and I was like, no, fuck that.
Yeah, I thought like 5 people would listen. I'll be honest.
I thought
Instead,
if
we
did
have
it
6
right,
people listening.
I
It's
was
great.
confident.
I appreciate all 6 of them.
We got more than 6, mate. Holy shit.
I was
We
confident.
got 7.
Well, I
Yes.
answered this in a Q&A the other, like 2 weeks ago, where I'm like, I knew if we did it the right way, it could do well. And part of my thought process of doing it the right way, I'm like, who is somebody I know who has like the most experience like doing podcast stuff? And I hit you up and I'm like, this guy right
Incredible.
Yeah.
here. And then
I appreciate it.
because you had I think just started your own solo show. You had done stuff with the E-Militia with that show. And I'm like, if anybody's going to know, I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to produce. If anybody's going to know how to do it, it's probably going to be him. And then we were going to get Mel involved.
I would have loved to have done this with Mel, but she started doing her own thing as well.
She got busy.
So, yeah, and she's just, busy with life. But it would be fun to bring her on for a chat sometime. But
I love Mel.
I fucking purest soul out there, seriously. But
Or maybe years now, actually.
for anyone who doesn't know who Mel is, you might remember Empress of Meme from way back when on Instagram.
In the golden
Meme
age.
templates. Yeah, the truly the golden age of Instagram before Zuck got poopy. But yeah, so then I got involved with the show, and it has blown the fuck up. Like really cast a shadow over the shows I my personal one and the E-Militia, and I was like, well, fuck, I got serious. Yeah, I had the same feeling. I was like, you guys know how to get information out there, and you guys have enough personality otherwise to put a show out there and not just be another group of gun guys being boring shot show fucks. So I was like, this could be something, and there is a market for it. And what do you know?
I remember one of the main points you brought up, I'm not gonna, because we had talked, and I'm like, I want to know how to do a podcast the right way, and I was looking to you for advice. And one of the things that you had said, uh, and it still sticks with me, you were like, you don't want to do a guest every episode, you're gonna run out of guests, and I'm like, I'm not gonna run out of guests.
No, and to your credit, you could do guests every single show, because you guys have a fucking great host of connections and contacts and stuff. But I think you guys need to
I
be
agree.
you as well from time to time. And I'm glad that you took that to heart, because then if you don't know your interviewer, then you kind of don't know what kind of show you're going to get, and it becomes a little bit robotic and a little bit like like if a university has a podcast and you just have some faculty member interviewing tons of people, it's like that kind of dryness
Yeah.
to me if you don't know the host and kind of know what they're about. So
Yeah, I agree entirely. And with one of the most valuable things has been the diversity between the three of us, because you've brought on guests to the show for us. Nathan has his own slew of people that he talks to. I have my own group of people that I talk to, and they're all, I mean, there is overlap, but like
Yeah.
there's also like a lot of diversity in it. So it makes, I don't know, it is like the perfect storm for like a team of like podcast people, I think.
Dude, this is such like, just as a project, this is such a fucking fun variety show, because and I'm sure it's the same for the listeners. Like, they have no fucking clue what they're gonna get on a week by week basis. Like, one second you got Nathan, fed posting, and the next you're talking to like a very serious, someone with a very real story, and then it's us talking about circumcision the next episode. I mean,
how many raccoons we can fight with a baseball bat?
Yeah. God bless the sponsors, but no, it's so fun, and there's so much potential in a platform like this where you can kind of touch on everything, but still get to the core of important things to us, like the gun community and gun culture, and kind of bettering yourself and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the message kind of rings true for almost every episode for the most part, but that
in
is,
some way.
Yeah, in some way or another, but that is part of the excitement, like you said. Like, there's a thing too where like I don't even know, like recording with somebody, I don't even know what that episode's going to be like sometimes. I mean, there are certain episodes like this one with Jed Morgan that is going to be out the week before this. Going into it, I had an idea of what it was going to be. It was going to be a heavy episode. But then there's some times where it's like, hey, we're going to go talk with, I don't know, fucking
Mike or something.
Yeah, and like I don't know how this is going to go, but we're going to do it. And then it turns out to either be like fucking hilarious, maybe we hit some serious stuff. Like, it's very diverse. And Nathan does now, because it originally started, I was going to do like my own episodes once a month that were more of the serious stuff. And then Nathan started to do that stuff too, just because I was going to potentially leave. And then now it's like, it's really good. Like, it's a really good, I don't even think there's a balance. It's more just like,
no, it's just whenever you guys have a show, I think that's kind of more fun.
Yeah,
because there is a natural balance to it. We don't really, we were trying to be more rigid about planning it, but it's better when it's just organic and you guys are like, hey, I'm talking to this guy this week, and it's going to be one of those episodes. And it's like, all right, well, hopefully the audience is along for the ride.
Yeah.
And to their credit, they fucking more or less are. Even the soccer episode.
Yeah, I was surprised. Well, I mean, it's definitely, I think it's our least popular, but it's still, no,
it still did decent.
It's not our least popular. I'm not going to say who our least popular is. I don't want to hurt any feelings.
Damn.
I mean, you have access.
Cut that.
But yeah, it's just interesting. Because I didn't think people, when I thought of the original attractions of the show, I was like, it's going to be the guests. Because we had access to all of these people. I knew we could access them. I knew we could talk to them. We could get them on the show, and it would be like a very, long form talks, because I had never seen a lot of these people do long form talks. I had never seen Mike go on a show. I had never seen Lucas go on a show. I had never seen like Drew Hopkins or even, some of the lesser known people like Leo of the Woods, Delta Magna, Anna, and we've made great friends by having these people on. But yeah. I always knew it would be very guest focused, at least in my head. And then I started to see memes pop up about like Nathan and myself and like things that were about us on the show, and I'm like, oh, people actually care about like hosts. kind of like what you were.
A little bit of context, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. So the soccer episode, it was more just like, fuck it, I like talking about it, I'm gonna do it. And it actually did better than what I thought, but it is still like our second or third least popular episode.
Yeah, sometimes we're niche, and you know,
Yeah. I don't pay
That's how
attention
it
to
is.
numbers. That's your job.
No, it's
very
fun.
true.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then Nathan does animations now too. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
Animation, Nathan.
As of like, it was a very me way of getting into something. I was just like, I've been working so much. I was just kind of been going down a hole. Like I've got a pile of unread emails I need to reply to. Got all sorts of stuff. Like we're lagging on content. Being gone, like out of the country for 3 weeks, really put me behind hard.
Shocker.
So, I
you need to recharge creatively, and it looks like you've fucking done that, man.
Yeah, I saw it on Fallout Prop Guy's page. He just put up a little, short walking animation. I'm like, hey, I could do that. Turns out I could. Like 8 frames. Well, it ended up being 24 frames because I had to find a multiple of your walk and our walk and make it all work. But yeah, it was a learning experience. It was pretty good. And I got my first paid job doing animation the day after, which is nice.
Fucking incredible. Turbo autism is powerful when it's weaponized. Absolutely. Yes. I do have a question about the animation from someone.
Yes.
Why did Nathan make BR walk like Roger from American Dad?
I like the style. I just like the style. One of us had to, and
what I really like is like you guys are so fucking in it, and I'm just along for the ride.
I don't know. The irony is like you're the tallest out of all of us.
Yeah.
Something just like the guy with the ski mask and the peace pipe.
Smoke.
Yeah. Just has to look the most laid back. So there you go.
I mean, naturally.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I was like, he made me a manlet, but
no, you got long legs. It's duck walking.
Yeah, thug walking.
Yeah.
Oh, and someone said, why? Or on the actual post, they were like, "Why is only one guy carrying?" It's like covert, motherfucker.
Yeah. Also, it's like I don't want to draw guns. Like animation's fucking hard. It's like why isn't the fire moving? Because animation is hard.
I thought it was such a fucking vibe.
Thank you. Because I did this in one day, motherfuckers.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah. Holy shit. You guys have this is not like a weeks long project. Nathan was like, hey, I think I'm going to do animation. And by the end of the day, he's like, oh, here's the animation. Like, what the fuck?
So let's give some context to like how the creative process here works with Nathan. It is very like there is no... There's no like planning. It's like, hey, we've had this guide here. Do you want to do it? And he's like, I did this animation on this thing. And I'm like, when the fuck did you do this? And you're like, I like it. And we're going to do it. And like, because when you texted me, he texted me 2 nights ago. He's like, so I'm gonna walk you through the process that I've learned to just accept with Nathan. The beginning of the week, it was like Sunday, he messages me. He's like, a guide this week. And I'm like, oh, which one? And you're like, I don't even know which one you said. And I'm like,
Commander Bond,
yeah.
Suit.
And I'm like, oh, okay, sounds good. 2 or 3 days after that, he's like, I'm finishing up this animation of us. And I'm like, what? And you're like, I'm finishing up this animation of us. And I'm like, what animation of us? Like, I didn't...
I'm just like, hey, I'm going to make an animation. And you just messaged me. I just sent it to you.
Hey, guys, we're a cartoon now. What?
He sent it to me, and I'm like, when the fuck did you learn to like animate?
But, this morning.
But that is it's just a regular theme, and I've learned to accept it and love it. It's always wild. It's like the podcast. So you guys as the listeners never know what you're going to get. Me with Nathan and content, I never know what I'm going to get. I have ideas. There's a list of ideas. It's to the point where I just screen cap them, and like he's like, we need ideas. I'm like, here's ideas. And then there's a completely different idea that comes out of it. And I'm like, all right, that's where we're going.
that also works. And
it just gets
cool.
filtered through this really like Swiss cheese brain. Like it goes in through all the holes and it just gets really slimy and it comes out as something entirely different.
What are those like fucking pin things where you put a coin in and it like bounces around and like chooses an option or whatever?
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about? That's like your creative process.
It works.
It's like all right, this is what we need. Bing, 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 bing. All right, it's that. Cool.
That's what we're getting.
No, it's the same thing. Same thing being a fucking producer for this show. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, all right. So I've got some guest ideas. I've reached out to a few people. Like, oh yeah, we're booked up for like the next 2-3 months. I'm like, okay, let's do
yeah.
that.
It's funny how it works. Like, I feel like all of us need to wrangle each other. I feel like I need being wrangled more than most. Just
There's
because,
no
like,
wrangling you. I've tried for years, and I've just accepted. I have literally just accepted a couple weeks ago. I'm like, it's how it is. I'm not gonna try and like be like, Nathan, we need a backlog, because it's just not gonna happen.
Backlogs won't happen, but like, you need to keep on me for content. Otherwise, you're just going to get like the odd CQB guide out of nowhere, and then us duck walking.
Yeah, but I don't even need to keep up on you with it, because you'll just randomly tell me you just finished an animation of something, and I'm like,
oh, all right.
and it's doing great. 130,000 people, I think, have watched it so far.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Fucking
Nice.
wild.
It's been up for like a day and a half or something.
I think so. When did we post it? Like 2 days ago?
Yeah.
It's 2 days ago. Day and a half. But
Fuck.
yeah, that's I guess that's the behind the scenes to the creative process now. It's very, here's an idea, and then it's very, maybe you'll get this idea, or maybe you'll get
It'll turn into something completely different.
But that's my problem. I always have like 20 things on the go, and it's good because like when we started this stuff too, I was living off Pogie. Like my job had kept us all on this retainer, so I was at home doing nothing. Now I'd have to draw to live and pay, mortgage.
my plan has worked.
Yeah. So I have a less content. But that being said, it's like we've also elevated the quality of the content quite a bit. So like the art is better, everything is better. There's more of things take longer on average, but it's good, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Well, we got you that new iPad, and that allows you to do how many more layers?
I don't think that new iPad is really new anymore. It's like 9 months or something.
Yeah, but compared to what you were able to do, like you mentioned layers, like on your old one.
Oh yeah, it's 7 layers in 4K was my old one, and it also crashed if I drew too fast, which I draw kind of quick. I think I sent you videos of the Rich. I was doing the art for the Rich episode, Full Spectrum Warrior. While I was drawing his beard, it kept crashing if I did the
just too much.
Yeah, if I drew strands too fast, it would just crash the program. This one, instead of 7 layers, I can do 68. So it's like one off from the magic number, but it has significantly more horsepower, and it very, very rarely crashes. I actually don't think it's crashed yet.
Well, that's good.
Sometimes it fucks up sending emails. Sorry?
That's good you don't need a new iPad yet, because we're poor.
Yes.
Shout out to AWS.
Yeah, AWS.
Shout out to AWS, thank you. Yeah. But no, it works, and I don't see it being obsolete anytime soon.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the topic of progress and stuff, and then I'll jump into some stupid quickfire questions like the raccoon thing. Someone asks, are you guys still planning on getting land together, or has that plan been dropped?
I don't think it's been dropped.
I think it's a very distant plan is the big thing about that, because like we're definitely not going to be in the same state for like a few years, but it's still something that's
I don't have problem having land in more than one place if finances allow.
This is Nathan's brain. So let's add more context to this. Let's add more context to this. When we originally had this idea, Nathan was like, I'll live in this state and just travel back and forth to you guys as we do stuff. And I'm like, how do you plan on doing that, like financially? Like, we don't...
I'll make it work.
Yeah, I will grow my empire to keep up with the page.
Yeah, that's basically how it's been. It's like I will work at operating capacity to basically like put a little bit of money aside and subsist. And when I need to, do things like I need to buy some plane ticket or I don't know, get LASIK or something, I'll be like, oh shit, I'll do 5 more jobs this week, and then I just will.
Well, the thing about getting the land, it can be a lot quicker, but the variable is money. Like we all like
money me now.
it's not for a lack of wanting to. It's a lack of being able
Resources.
to responsibly. Because we
Yes.
could realistically, I mean, if I was single, didn't have my daughter, wasn't married, I would fuck it, you know?
Oh, yeah, we'd all be like on our way to being fucking mountain men in the
Yeah,
woods,
like-
just with like 3 fucking cabins and a
Yeah,
range.
I don't need a lot, but I'm like, I have a wife, I have a daughter, they have their own things that they want to do, and it's like I can't just, I can't be irresponsible.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make financial sense yet, but
yeah.
the more we grow, because right now, like Patreon, huge help,
Huge, massive.
huge help to keeping us just being able to do it. But in terms
Oh, you
of
should put those templates on Patreon, the blue and green ones, if you can.
the Patreon doesn't let you post video.
Are you fucking serious?
At least I haven't figured out how to. Maybe you can.
Oh.
You could always do like a link to
I
a
think that's what
download
you have to
folder of
do.
some description.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
lots of fun.
yeah, there's also just the, you know, to get those resources, we're all going to be in different like physical and career kind of spots
Yeah.
for the next few years. So
Yeah.
if that is something that we, you know, this could all result in just having like a spot to go and film that we invest in, perhaps. For the time being, that could be a way we could do it quicker, but if we wanted to do it in our ideal kind of situation, it would be very much like, you know, Seaburn Ranch kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Look at fucking Mike Jones. They just got a big plot of land out in the middle of fucking.
yeah, but he has sponsors
Idaho.
that give him like a lot of money.
And he's been doing this for years,
Yes.
much bigger audience.
I'm
all
not
kind of
comparing
it-
us. I'm just saying.
No,
like,
no. It's all about scale and kind of, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
So
And it's real.
well, it's a big commitment.
It's very realistic, and it's a very big commitment. And like you said with the careers thing, this is still, while it does make money, this is still very much like a passion project still. It's not like Nathan's job is drawing, but it's not drawing for the page.
No.
Exclusively,
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice if it was, but I mean, what am I going to be like, Nathan, live off of $500 a month? Like, you know, can't do that. So it's very much, it will likely happen depending on if we keep growing, which I think we are going to. But it also, you know, here's the thing, lives can change overnight. What could end up happening, fucking Mr. Joe Rogan himself is like, oh, I'm going to share this podcast. And then all of a sudden, instead of having like, you know, thousands of listeners every week or tens of thousands of listeners a week, we could have millions. And that's when you can start making millions. And millions, I've worked it all out in my head back when I thought we were going to win the lottery. I planned it all out. I'm like, $1 million does everything to make this full-time with the homestead, with the property, with the studio, with the equipment, and most importantly, people are probably gonna be like, oh, like $1 million, and including houses with that, like that's kind of like not a good business plan. Here's why houses are important. If we had $1 million, like we win the lottery, we have $1 million we dedicated towards this. All three of us have houses, lands, a studio. We have all this shit. We don't have any worries of finances in the back of our head where we're like, fuck, I have to get another job to pay for my fucking mortgage. So it's very organic. It stays very much still a passion project. So that's where I think we stand. with
Well,
that.
maybe an angel investor will listen to this and be like, I will invest $1 million if Mitch comes down here and just sucks my cock.
I will absolutely accept cartel blood money.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
You want to sponsor the podcast? Because you have a podcast now.
Oh yeah, the real people paying for the cartels.
Yeah. No,
Celebrating their 75 years at Langley.
yeah. No, I'd be down for a sponsorship from like Lala Salamanca or like Tuco.
Like we will give you an airstrip.
Yeah,
We will. We have
Straight
ad
up.
space. We still have ad. Well, there are a couple sponsors in the works, but we'll see.
Yeah, so it's scale. It's definitely something we would love to do, but it's we're still pretty young in this project, so who knows where it could go.
Yeah, I mean, the podcast
Celebrating a million plays. So
yeah, celebrating 1 million plays in just over a year and 65 episodes. That's pretty fucking cool. And if people do basic math, they can figure out, like, I guess the all-time average, although it's gone up because the way that it works, like your average when we started out versus our average now. So I guess it's probably going to be a little lower if you add up all the episodes and then divide than what our true average is now. But still, yeah, I do think there's a lot of potential, and we've only been doing it for a year, and I think the more that we do it, the better we get at it. Like, I'm always getting better at interviewing people. I try and get feedback from you a lot. I'm like, hey, did I do okay doing this one? And I try and get better. I listen to other shows and how other people do stuff, and I try and get better that way. But yeah, it's realistic. It's just going to be a while unless something drastically changes overnight, which it could.
like the lotto pact.
Yeah.
If someone hits it, and the IRS doesn't rape us too much.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Or maybe Nathan hits like a fucking illustration contract with Netflix and makes like $10 million.
It's
Yeah, he's gonna be like, see you later, fuckers.
but my favorite thing, honestly, and I was doing really well during the summer. A company, a guy I really like, had me on retainer, and unfortunately, like his graphic work kind of dried up. But being on retainer to just like pump out a couple designs a month, just like there was an average of like 3 to 5 for about $1,000, and that was wonderful. Like I was creating a lot of content then because like no matter what, my bills were paid, and
This episode
like
is brought to you
it
by
covered the
Nathan
shortfall
Retainer.
with everything. What?
Nathan
So this-
Retainer. Pay
someone
Nathan
put me
a
on
retainer,
retainer.
and content will improve.
Yes, I feel like we're doing a really bad job of answering questions.
Well, let's get into some. We had some very long-winded answers there. I think people will appreciate a little bit of behind the scenes and kind of where we're at, though.
Oh, yeah,
seeing
and
as we're
No,
celebrating a milestone, but we can do some less self-masturbatory stuff. Would you survive the Old West?
you have died of dysentery.
Probably not. Probably not. With my back and neck, do you think I'm riding a horse fucking 10 hours a day? Absolutely fucking not.
Yeah, because when I first read this question, I was like, all right, all of us with our same origin story. So poor Yankee Mitch is like a Union soldier who's fucked up his neck and back. Nathan is a Canadian who's wandered down to the States to get away from all the Indians.
I'm
And-
also Asian, so maybe I'd be like worked to death on a railroad. I don't know.
Oh fuck
Oh,
yeah!
fuck.
No.
You're the explosive
That-
guy.
Yeah, they
Like-
send me into a tunnel with just like strapped with TNT.
Because it's cheap. It's cheaper
original
than using a cord.
I don't look super Asian though. I look pretty white, but some people think I'm native sometimes. So maybe I just get executed on the spot.
Someone sees you coming over the ridge on a horse and
Yeah.
think you're a native and shoot you out.
It blows my
self-defense.
brains out. No, honestly, I think I would do pretty well because I've got that raccoon army. They'll just steal all the shit from me.
Fuck yeah, you would go full like Kaczynski in the cab. You would be Kaczynski's wet dream, like off trapping in the mountains, just drawing and living your best life.
Yeah, just like occasionally going down an ADHD hole and just learning something else entirely until I die of dysentery, which will happen.
Inevitably, we all die of dysentery at 40.
Yes.
But yeah, I'd be some scummy Eurotrash Brit fuck trying to make it out in the desert as I am now, but without AC. And without AC, ladies and gentlemen, no. No.
Yeah, you can fry an egg on Arizona concrete, I heard. And you can also fuck
yeah.
somebody's face up, as I heard Arizona police did to somebody.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I would get myself police brutality down in Tombstone almost instantly because I'm opinionated.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't. With me right now, I can't ride a fucking horse for that long. And like
Oh,
reality,
dude, I love horse riding.
I hate horses. They scare the shit out of me for starters. But like,
I'm a country boy. So, well, I guess you are too, but not that kind of country boy.
no, I wouldn't survive. Old West.
Oh,
No, I mean, I would find a
fuck.
way to survive, but it wouldn't be like out in the fuck. I'd be in a town. That's where I would survive. I'd be living in a town, maybe like a bartender or something.
I would like ride into Tombstone. Did you know the oldest rose tree in, I don't know if it's the world or the United States, is in Tombstone, and there's this hotel there, and there's this big old rose tree that has grown, and it's like the size of a I don't know, fucking basketball court or so, like grown out in the middle of the desert, and it comes from a Scottish tree, and some Scottish immigrant brought it over to Tombstone, Arizona, and planted it there. But I don't know, there's some cool history. But also, they took your fucking guns. The sheriffs in Tombstone disarmed people as they came into town, which is what the whole fucking Tombstone film's about. So I would be, fresh off the boat in America, enjoying, having a fucking 6-shooter on my hip, and some sheriff would be like, "Howdy, son. You can't have that here. Try and take that shit off me, and then I would die." So, no, I think that's how I'd fucking go. Million ways to die in the West.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I wouldn't be one of those expansion settlers. I would chill in a town with a family and be like, yeah, the welfare state,
Fuck. Let's see what else we got. We'll leave that one for a second. We'll fix this in post. You want to talk about the death of Queen Lizzie? So someone asked, "Can everyone take a shot right now for the death of the lizard?" It is 1 PM for me.
I'll drink apple cider.
I don't. There you go. I'll hit my peace pipe.
Wait, what are we taking a shot for?
So we are celebrating the death of the lizard, the Queen Mother.
You're supposed to be mourning.
Oh,
that's what you keep saying,
one
and
second.
it's a cute joke. Nathan's gonna go off and grab fucking vodka.
It's funny that the British one on our show isn't the one whose taxes go towards the royal family.
I bought something for this.
Oh yes!
Go
Go home, British soldiers.
Yeah, so I was telling.
Wait. For context, Nathan is holding an Irish flag right now because he plans on having a barbecue. Has that happened yet? The celebration.
I just I went down a different ADHD hole that day, and I put zero planning or effort into it.
No, that's
so
fair.
I just did nothing.
Okay, well that's a better celebration.
Yes, but I have the Irish flag now.
Yeah, so after Queen Elizabeth died, the country was trying to figure out how to, like, what things were going to be kept open and what things weren't. And football over there, huge. They saw a huge influx of people from Ireland purchasing tickets to games and flights.
So based.
And they're all for the top flight divisions. And the English Premier League is the most watched league in the world. It's the most popular league in the world. And they had seen already in the lower divisions in England, like chants from
the rowdier ones with the trashier people.
Chanting thing like Lizzie's in a box. I sent you that one. And
Lizzie's in a box.
Lizzie's in a box. Yeah, but the Irish people over there were fucking mad, and even some of the British people that don't like the fucking crown. And it got so bad to the point where they canceled football, like in the top flight, because they're like, we know what these Irish people are flying here to come do on like national television during a Premier League game.
When there is literally like the Western version of North Korean mourning of dear leader, like it is being enforced by law to effectively not be in mourning, but to be polite about the mourning. Like if you speak shit publicly about the royal family right now, especially like some people shouted calling a pedo, a fucking nonce. Up in Scotland, Edinburgh, when the Queen's procession was going by, someone shouted at Prince Andrew that he was a paedophile, and he got dragged back from the crowd by cops, thrown to the ground, and then arrested. And that happened in a few different instances, various protests against the monarchy, like abolish the monarchy and all of that, which we love to see. But yeah, they were arrested in England. That for anyone who doesn't know, there isn't actually freedom of speech in England. So they've been trying to like quell any kind of rowdy protests and just shit talking about the Queen and the monarchy and all that, because it's a very fragile system over there. They have to keep the peasants in check and keep them. I guess it's so strange that in 2022, in the current year, we are still doing like don't speak ill of the royals.
Yeah.
And like, has there been any similar stuff in Canada, Nathan? Like any kind of arrests or any trouble people get into?
Not that I've seen, but I also don't check very closely. I saw the arrests in England, but there wasn't exactly processions or anything. It's like the flags were at half-mast.
Oh, okay.
And the general consensus through people I know is like it went three ways. They didn't care at all, which was the vast majority. They trolled a little bit and were having fun with it, which was the second most. And then the odd person who's like, oh, well, it's a little sad, And that group tended to skew a little more centrist and a little older.
Because like I would have expected in a really, really progressive place like Canada, them to be kind of echoing the same sentiment of like the Irish being like, yeah, fuck you, colonist and all that, even though they
like
have
very like neoliberal here. Like Ireland went super, it's very progressive now, but it's still built on like a revolutionary kind of spirit, which does not exist here. So yeah, no one really gave a like of my generation, no one gave a shit or they memed, and a very like a minority of people were like, oh, well, I guess that's sad. Some of the older people were genuinely kind of upset, and I'm sure some younger people were too, but if so, they're outside of, well, it's all anecdotal. They're outside of my circles.
That's so interesting to me.
One of my buddies who's still over in England, I was making fun of him. I'm like, oh, your fucking queen died. Like, tough, bro. Like, and he was like, well, I don't mind the royal family because they bring in a lot of money in tourism. And I'm like,
I fucking hate this argument.
It's not a justification.
Well,
I'm sure Auschwitz brings a lot of money in tourism.
Genuinely, like, it's not like you need the fucking Nazis to still be there, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't, like how are...
Not everything is about bringing in tourist dollars, too, or, like, tax dollars into your economy. Who gives a...
Like, how are taxes still going to the royal family?
Yeah.
And people are like, it's not a lot. And I'm like, if it was a fraction of a percent, that's too much. Like and they're like, but they don't have power. And I'm like, that's even worse.
They kind of
have
do
influence.
though. Like,
it's like the Pope. It's like a figurehead. And they have like,
I'm pretty sure they can veto certain stuff too. They can, like, there would be like a big thing of it, but they can, I think, intervene in some way.
That's so dumb. I mean, is it dumber than the people making the decisions, like, without them, like Parliament or whatever the fuck they have over there? Like, that thing's a fucking joke. I love watching the highlights of that because there are literal highlights of them. It's a fucking joke. It's great.
The gentleman will be seated right now.
They're going bananas, and then like they're just yelled like berating shit across the thing, and there's this weird table in the center. It's fucking crazy over there, but. Yeah, he was like, no, it brings in a lot of money from tourism. And I'm just... But why do you willingly, and obviously you don't have a choice, but like, why do you like just accept and be okay with your money going to like the royal family right now? Like if they don't do anything and they're just there for tourism, like clearly that brings in its own revenue. Like, as you're saying, so why the fuck do you need to also contribute to that? It is literally the highest form of welfare you could be on. Like,
yep, they are on posh welfare.
Like, the nicest welfare you could ever be on. They travel around in fucking jets. They have guards. They have their own fucking weirdo royal guards who run over old women for not getting out of the way.
Oh my god.
Like, why do you still have to do that? Why do you have to be a dick? Like, I understand, like, that is like the royal palace where they go and they stand guard and people like make fun of them for being like stoic and like super, or not stoic, like fucking whatever statues. But then when they march around doing the shit, they're like, make way. And if they don't make way, they literally just walk through you. And it's like an old fucking lady or an old person or a kid. And I'm like, you just stomped on a fucking kid. For what? For what? For some stupid fucking tradition? Like, as a human, what is the fucking problem? It's dumb. Doesn't make sense.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's gonna end our ability to get any respected Brits on here now. But the ones who are fun like me will still come on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so gentlemen, let's take a shot or hit of your preferred substance and celebrate the death of a lizard.
I have no alcohol, so I guess I'll just like.
I have apple cider, Nathan. You're okay.
Yes.
Oh.
Desk pop for Queen
Desk
Lizzie.
pop for the queen.
She would love that. She would love that.
I just really.
What?
I don't. It's a king and a queen. How is there a king and a queen? And this isn't like some third.
How is there a
world
fucking government, Mitch? How are we fucking?
Let's get into it.
Let's just fucking get into it.
It just doesn't.
No, let's not go down that.
It doesn't make sense that there's a royal family.
People love authority figures.
Yep. They need some
personality.
Simple fucking people, dude.
Yeah.
It's dumb.
Yes.
It's funny. Someone asked, "Will episode 69 be a schizocast?" I guess the answer
like
is
semi.
Yes.
I can message Garrett right now and fucking bring him in.
It kind of is.
Yeah, we'll probably be recording another schizocast this week sometime if I don't die and get power back and don't get suicided.
I've been impressed so far. Not, like a tree hasn't come through your or a cow hasn't come through your window yet.
I just looked outside though; it's fucked. Oh, small flicker.
Oh fuck!
I don't know if you
anyway.
picked up on that. It's just like a frame.
No, it was alright for me. Where are we at? I've got like, were like half of your questions just people saying nice about episode 69?
Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah, we'll do like one or two more. We'll wrap it up.
Yeah. All right. Favorite impractical but fun things in your lives?
Impractical but fun.
Impractical but fun.
I feel like we're all fucking like really aggressively utilitarian people.
Yeah.
So do we?
Shotguns.
I guess my Xbox, like my Xbox, is pretty impractical. I guess.
Yeah, same. I got a PS5. That was my little birthday present to myself. It's pretty dope. This new cyberpunk anime kicked ass. Neither of you watch anime, and neither do I, really, for the most part. But it fucking great.
I really wanted to like Cyberpunk, and I was so heartbroken by it being so buggy when I first got it. I haven't played since they patched it.
Oh, it's good now. It's good now. I started because the show was that good. No, it's been 2 years, and they've fixed a lot, and they've added a lot. It's.
I just need to start from scratch and do it.
Start fresh and start on a next gen or a gaming PC because like it does not run last gen.
See, I've got my old Xbox.
Yeah, it will not run it. It looks like Fallout now. I put it in my PS4 and they nuked the graphics so hard it just doesn't.
Wild.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess
Fallout, don't get me wrong. It's just like it's very weird to see those graphics in the next gen title.
Yeah, that's something we don't talk about too much. I guess is that we're all gamers, kind of, or were. I'm not so much. I'm not so much anymore. I'm sure Mitch, you're busy as fuck with the baby, but like right before having the kid, you were like, we were very much into the Warzone thing, for a minute, but and they kind of drifted on that. I would love to have less things to worry about so I could enjoy gaming, but oh my fucking Christ. If I'm gaming, I'm just racked with guilt. I can't relax.
Yeah, same. I haven't had time. I wish I had had time, but I have like a backlog of emails and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, there's DMs that have been unanswered for like 6 months. I've got emails like that. I've got articles that I want to write and edit from other people. I've got episodes I could be editing or recording. I'm a fucking workaholic. So, impractical fun shit is so hard to enjoy for me, and I hate it. I wish it could be better.
Yeah. I've personally went to 19 soccer games this month now because I'm building a
Incredible.
scouting network. I was talking to you about it yesterday. I have this.
Mm.
It is going to be the most comprehensive soccer scouting network that could ever exist, ever.
Fuck yeah.
So I'm busy, but I still have an Xbox. But
Yeah.
I guess watching the NFL on TV is pretty impractical, but I like to do it.
Yeah.
Sports
I
ball.
love
Sports ball.
fucking. I think a good last question here for all of us individually. What's your favorite episode that we ever recorded?
Fuck.
I don't know. I have a bunch. I'll list a few in no order. John
me
Harvey
doing-
Kellogg and the
looking
fat
through
the
That's
fat
my
people
favorite.
industrial
Yeah,
complex.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite.
That
Yeah.
yeah. It's funnily enough also one of the ones that is more commonly like complained about just because of like the message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
Not
But-
very
but
many
it-
people seem to complain though. Do they do it on Anchor?
no. Like it's just the one that we've got the most kind of comments like, oh, that was controversial or whatever, and it's like,
Oh
well,
yeah. Well, they
well,
can get
truth,
fucked, I don't care.
truth is hard, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Truth
it's
is hard.
definitely the
Put
ones
down
where
that
we.
fucking burger. And that cereal, those frosted flakes.
It's the stuff that my favorite stuff is when we are talking about some hard hitting stuff, but it's not just like all serious. Like we're having some fun with it, but it's like there is a message here. And that can be anything from kind of anti-war kind of stuff to gun culture to looking after yourself and bettering yourself. All of those are kind of my favorites because we it's shit that's important to us.
Yeah.
But
All right, incredibly based answer. My favorite episode is the one we haven't recorded yet.
Yeah.
oh
Boom.
That is really funny.
yeah, I'm sure there was lots of questions about like who's your favorite guest. It's like, dude,
Yeah, I don't answer those questions ever. I'm like, I don't want to, because then people are gonna be like, so you don't like so and so, and it's like I'm not even gonna answer that. I like.
man, I couldn't even like even from just my show, I couldn't pick one out. Like
Yeah, I like them all. I have I
I love
loved
conversation.
talking with, like, I don't know, every guest equally. I enjoy talking as much as I do to Mike, as much as I enjoy talking with like Lucas, as much as I enjoy talking with like Anna, as much as I enjoy
Yeah.
talking, like all of those people. Leia of the Woods, who I want to reach out to again, like Lady Voluntary, another one. Why am I naming all the women?
More memorable. The lads we all blend together.
Yeah, there's I don't know. I love talking with all of them. We don't have people really on that we don't like talking to just to have that. Like that's kind of
Yeah,
like the complete opposite of what the show is. That's like Jimmy Fallon type shit where he just has people on because like they're popular and like it's going to do good and people want to know about that, like
Yeah, we've definitely had some requests for people that are like popular that we're like,
Yeah.
nah, man.
I had one person I got really fucking poopy that we didn't want to have on. What's
A politician.
yeah, a politician.
A guy who.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
a guy who is a gun guy who was going into politics.
And I'm like,
LMAO.
I honestly had nothing. Like I didn't want to talk to him. I'm like, I don't know. I don't want to talk to this guy.
Yeah, just got nothing in common.
Yeah, dude, I've interviewed I think 1 or 2 politicians in the past, and it's just like, why the fuck am I talking to you about politics?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like trying to be something for the wrong reasons. Like I'm not genuinely interested. Like I don't give a shit, but I have to ask you about like your politics because you're doing fucking politics, and I don't fucking care.
yeah, like, what are you up to? Is I'm running for something, and I'm like, okay, well, this isn't me.
Yeah, like,
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least the guy he's not in politics anymore. I don't think.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not end on that. I've got one more quick one.
Yes.
All right. If you could sit down and have I had 2 versions of this. I guess the more fun one was if Print Shoot Repeat 3D printed a time machine.
I love
Who
him.
is
He's so good.
who? Yeah, he could do it too. He just needs plutonium.
Yeah.
No, if you could interview one person from history, Who would it be? Each of us.
Fuck.
Jesus Christ Superstar. I'd be like, why'd you do it?
The immediate troll answer to my head was Hitler. Like I'm like, say this
Why'd you
without
do it?
any hesitation, and I'm like, no, don't do that.
Wrong message. Like
Wrong message.
0.5 seconds after asking.
Yeah. If my wife was here, I'd definitely make that joke to her because she is Jewish. So
Yeah.
I would love to, like, no boundaries. I would genuinely love to talk to 2007 Osama bin Laden. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
I'm not joking.
No, of
I'm not
course.
joking, because he was trained by CIA assets, like historically,
Yeah.
and fought as a proxy warrior in the Mujahideen against Russia on behalf of the US. And then he was being, I'd be like, what's that like, man? Like, if I could be a vice reporter in 2007 with some balls, that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
that's a good one.
That is a
Nathan,
very good
who do you have?
He's not dead yet, but probably Ted Kaczynski. In the most predictable end.
No, like, I would love to. Fuck.
But
It puts you on a watch list. It puts you on a watch list to write him a letter.
We could right now talk to him, but I don't want to be in on any more lists than I am. But I genuinely like the anti-tech revolution and all of that stuff. It's Technological Slavery is a really good book. I want to pick his brain, genuinely. Like, a lot of it, yeah, it's for the meme, but it seems like a really interesting dude.
All right, Mitch, you got to rescue us because we've given we've given 2 people on watch lists so far. So I hope
I
you're
mean,
third.
one of them's dead and the other one's got cancer. So
they always get him in the end. Cancer, be it cancer gun or real gun.
I
yeah,
don't know.
who invented the Federal Reserve?
Oh
No.
fuck! I would just time travel back and
I just wanted to see what your jokes would be, and they did not disappoint.
You know,
that motherfucker is a baby.
the problem is, like, I would love to talk to Diego Maradona, but like
Is that a sports
soccer
ball man?
boy?
yeah, he was a really
I
famous
knew it.
Argentinian soccer player who did a fuck ton of cocaine and died.
Based.
He also did the hand of God in the World Cup. Like, he scored a goal with his hand and won. It was a whole thing. But like,
Wait, what?
yeah, he scored a goal with his hand to win in the World Cup
Yeah.
back in the day, and like got away with it, and they call it the hand of God. Like, very clearly did. But like, I don't know, he only died like a couple of years ago, and a lot of people talk to him. I would love to talk with him. And I'll say, I'll be the nerdy one here and not give a spicy answer. Diego Maradona. I'd love to talk with Diego. When he was on coke.
Ooh.
Like, when he was on there was on coke while he
Specifically.
played, but then there was on coke later on. He tried to become a manager for a bit. He didn't do very well, and then he got picked up by a club in Mexico who was kind of owned by the cartel, kind of not. And there's like videos of him like doing coke before the game. He would go out and manage, and you would just see him like losing his fucking mind on the sideline. It was great. I'd love to talk with coked up Diego Maradona.
Incredible. All right, those answers didn't disappoint.
That's how.
All right, we wanna wrap it up. I can see the ADHD kicking a little bit with both of you. You're like, kind of.
It's moreover like I have not brought all my stuff in for the hurricane, and like,
Oh no! By all means.
I've got most of it. Like, I got everything for my. If I'm looking around my office, I have like all my deck chair stuff in here. Yeah.
So they don't get sent through your window.
Yeah, but I still haven't done the backyard yet, and I still haven't cleaned out my garage so I can get my car into it.
Dad advice. Go.
Yes.
Ah, fuck you, you cunt.
Boom.
All right, that wasn't very fatherly. Let's adjust. God damn it! I didn't expect this.
How do
For
you
some
not
reason.
expect this? You have literally edited everything.
I didn't feel like I guessed. You didn't woo me. The best thing, I think, like, I have such a fucking good dad. I wish I lived closer to him, but I had such a good childhood. And so, like, my best advice, I'm not a dad yet, is just echoing, what a good father... If you don't have a good father figure, I mean, surely there must be a man in your life to echo. Just when you become a father, whether it's your father or another father figure that you've seen and like really appreciated, try and echo some of that. How to set someone up for life with some confidence, some skills they can fall back on, and understanding like how to be a man and not like a corny fucking way. Because there's a way to do it, all this fucking, like the aesthetic of it, and then there's actually being a fucking man with some responsibility and kind of making the next generation better than the one before and all that kind of shit. So it's not just about enforcing a rigid structure of, well, my dad did this, so I'm doing it, but like, how can we constantly improve and make better men than the ones that came before us, but while also learning, for better or worse from them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I like that, actually.
Be a man, don't be a bitch, but don't be a
There you go.
man. Don't be the aesthetic man, be a real man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the summary. No, absolutely. That is it. There's a lot of people who just wear the aesthetic of a real man. That shit is...
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that
It
shit.
betrays a certain anxiety, I think. It betrays a certain, like...
Sigma male
insecurity.
mindset.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck that noise.
Okay, bye.
Wait,